What a mess. All right. Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, an extra sloppy sports and entertainment talk show about the New York Giants, the New York Mets, movies, TV, comedy, and a whole lot more. It's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the Real Cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a plump and furry Irish-Italian-American who graduated from a Catholic high school but is not Catholic, and also went to a private research university where I researched my privates. There's also an institution known for producing doctors and lacrosse players, and I became neither. Instead, I am a visual learner. I'll say that. You can leave a voicemail at 862-248-1986. 862-248-1986. That's the last time the Mets and Giants won a championship, same year. Subscribe to Giant Mess on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Neal Lynch or Real Cinch. Just do a search. Use those fingers of yours. Visit my official blog, neallynch.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/giantmess. Real Cinch on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure to subscribe to Giant Mess on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your audio pleasures. Ooh. On this episode, I'm going to recap the holidays. It was the holiday season. It took a nice 2-3 week break. No big deal. We'll look at the best TV shows and movies of 2020 that I have seen, along with some TV shows and movies that I'd like to see. And also, we'll look ahead to the most anticipated movies of 2021. Variety seems to think that we're gonna have a bounce back year at the box office, and that all these big ass movies are gonna debut in theaters and people are gonna go. I don't know. We'll see. I'll recap the Giants' win over the Cowboys, reflect on the Philadelphia Eagles tanking their dicks off, prohibiting the Giants from advancing to the postseason. We'll look back at the 2020 Giants season and look ahead at the 2021 opponents for the New York Football Giants. So with that, let's dive right on in. The holidays. Last time I talked to y'all was December 14th. It's been 2-3 weeks. I don't even know how long it's been since then. But a lot of baking, a lot of cooking, making stuff in the slow cooker. We have like a monstrous bag of chocolate chips, and so I'm putting that in everything. Pancakes, cookies, muffins, chili, just whatever food I can get my hands on, chocolate chips are going in it. So I've packed down a considerable amount of weight, as has everyone else in the friggin' world. I essentially look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the movie Junior. If you remember that movie poster, he had basically a basketball in his stomach, and that's my life now. I decided today to take a look in the mirror. Don't ever do that. First and foremost, don't ever look in the mirror, ever, at yourself. You will not like what you see. And like the people who take their shirts off and they take a selfie with the camera looking at themselves, and I guarantee even the 8-pack ab guy is like, oh man, that 8th ab looks a little off. No one likes how they look in the mirror. But I decided to actually just relax everything in my body and really just decide to let my gut hang, because usually it's like I don't realize that I'm sucking in my gut most of the time. You don't realize it until you consciously let your gut hang. Just don't push out. Just relax everything in your torso. And I let it hang, and I was like, whoa. It's just completely disproportionate from everything else with my body. And that's what I kind of have been using to justify my weight gain, is like everything, at least I'm gaining it proportionately. Like I'm gaining an inch all over my body. It's not just in my gut or my ankle. It's like I'm putting on an inch from head to toe. So it's like people don't notice as quickly. They're like, did you? No. And it takes them a couple times before they realize, yeah, you gained about 10 pounds over break. Good job, Neil. We went to our mother-in-law's, or my mother-in-law's, on Thursday, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve? Yeah, Christmas Eve. Ate a lot of ham, pork products, bacon, of that sort. I haven't had that many pork products in a long, long time. I swore off pork for a long time. there was a stretch like a year or two where I went down to visit. I think I told this story. I went down to visit my mom and sister in South Carolina. And at the time, my brother-in-law's brother was married to a woman or engaged to a woman who owned a pig. I think the pig's name was Silo. I met the pig and I was like, I can't eat pig anymore. I met a pig. I befriended a pig. And I can't. I just can't bring myself to do it. And then someone told me that pigs are like some of the most intelligent creatures on earth. And I'm like, do we eat dolphin? No. So then I swore off pork, which was difficult because like, D's Cafe every Saturday, Sunday morning. I've told this before. You get I forget what the hell they call it. The man wrap. It's always man something. If it's like really bad for you, that's manly. And so it was like Taylor ham, bacon, and then sausage patty with egg and cheese and a wrap. Might as well throw some hot sauce on that bitch. Yeah. So yeah, we ate a lot of fucking ham, and we napped hard. I napped very, very hard. On the couch in front of everyone. It was just like, hey, welcome to our house. Enjoy the couch, I guess. So, and I dressed up. So I like got showered, dressed up to go to my mother-in-law's. And then I napped in my nice clothes with my shoes on the couch. Wasn't even wasted this time. And then was awakened to go to this small gathering at a family's nearby family where we played Yankee Swap. White Elephant, I think is what it's called. All those sound, we live in a culture now that's so goddamn PC that it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like maybe those are not appropriate names anymore. Like Yankee Swap, White Elephant. Like it's probably invented in the 1800s where it's like, someone who was mentally slow and it's like the retard's gambit. No. Can't say the R word. Come on now. So yeah, I played that game and I ended up with I initially got you pick numbers out of a hat. And 1 through 8, because there were 8 of us. And like 1 is supposedly like the best and 8's like the second best. And so I was like, oh, well, what's the worst? They're like, it's a number 2. And I look on my piece of paper, it's a number 2 staring back at me. So I had the worst one. What are you going to do? I originally got like socks, some kind of like the Peanuts gang, Charlie Brown, Peppermint Patty, that whole crew. And I was like, all right, I don't mind this at all. I think it was the Peanuts gang. It was some kind of cartoon character. Was it SpongeBob? Maybe. I don't know. I can't even remember. It was some famous animated series, but there were socks. And I was like, I could always use more socks, especially like ones that don't make me want to kill myself when I wake up in the morning. So I was like appreciating the socks. And then someone else went, I think it was my sister-in-law, and she unwraps the box and it's a Richard Simmons Chia Pet. And she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to take your socks. And I was like, yeah, I think you lose this swap, bitch. Because Richard Simmons Chia Pet, fuck yeah. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 5.5 balls. As I haven't opened it yet and used it yet. So I feel like it's winter, I want to make sure that there's a lot of sun coming through my office window, which my office, if you can't tell, is a beer pong table in our living room. So maybe when it's getting a little bit warmer, I'll start to look to because how long, I don't even know. I've never really had a Chia Pet. So like how long do Chia Pets last? A year, 2 years, a month? Like I got to make sure I time this thing right, because January is it's depressing. It's, cold weather and snow and not a whole lot to look forward to, especially if your team doesn't make the fucking playoffs. But so I got to time this right. Maybe there's like a period after Valentine's Day, before St. Patty's Day, where I can mix it in. It all depends on how long it lasts. I don't know. For the swap, my wife bought a Squatty Potty, which I highly recommend, and a talking toilet paper roll, which she loves, but she has tolerance for that kind of shit. Like, we also have a little snowman that we break out for Christmas that we put on the back of the toilet, and it makes it's sound activated. I think I've mentioned this before in the pod, but you come in the bathroom and it means like, hey, and they got an annoying voice, and it sings all these cheery jingles, and it's all poop or potty related. And it's cute like the first 2 or 3 times. And then the fourth time, you want to put it through a wall. You want to throw it off a bridge. So she got this talking toilet paper roll that also makes can you imagine if we got stuck with this talking toilet paper roll and she insisted on using that in combination with the snowman? It's like there's too much potty. It's too much going on. I'm never going to want to shit again. Which is ironic because I can't say it. Can't say it. Okay, I will say this. I have a friend whose wife can't poop. She took laxatives and was up all night pooping. I have a friend whose wife. Okay. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's a Horse Soldier bourbon whiskey. I probably butchered that. A friend of mine, I guess, is involved in distributing it or something. It's aged. I forgot how long it's aged. More than 15 years, I think. Something like that. And it is smooth. Still fiery, still spicy, but it is smooth. And it is not cheap. So, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Valentine's Day. That covered a bunch of gifts for myself for the year. Met my quota. So the swap was fun. We also played a game where, and I've never heard of this game in my life, but apparently my mother-in-law swears by it, where you put on oven mitts, and there's a wrapped gift box, and you all stand in a circle and you take turns putting on the mitts and trying to unwrap the box. And the first person to unwrap the box and get done before the timer goes off, that's the person who wins the prize. So we had 8 people standing around the table, and I get to go second yet again. I think my wife went first. She was next to me. She tries and almost got it. And then I went, and I just like a bear after a manicure, just angrily ripping and tearing at this box. And I got it done way before the timer went off. And I was like, what do I win? What do I win? And she was like, that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to take like almost all of us, all 8 of us, to go. It's a couple rounds for you to get that wrapping paper off. I was like, oh, well, so I don't win? Was that the rules are you? And she's like, well, I think the kids should get the prize. It's like, all right, well, fun game, mother-in-law, fun game. Really like this game. Real fun. We had some, so I missed my mom's enchiladas. Enchiladas? Yeah, enchiladas. Which they're like not your restaurant enchiladas. These are like mega enchiladas. These enchiladas are huge. They're kind of just like, I want to say they're like more like smothered burritos. It's like shredded chicken and like a little salsa verde on top, enchilada sauce. Ooh. So yeah, I guess they are enchiladas, but they're the biggest enchiladas I've ever seen. And I missed it this year, and I'm pissed. And she gave me the recipe. And so anytime I ask her about the recipe, she's like, you have it. It's in your possession. So I got to find it because I missed that. That's like Christmas Eve staple in the Lynch household. Us Irish fucks, we like our Mexican food the night before the arrival of Christ. So instead we had at this small gathering, chicken salad wraps, which I love chicken salad. I probably had, they're cut in half. I might have had 3 or 4 halves. Okay. But I took a bite and I ended up finding a bone in one. And I was like a little grossed out. It's like you just do when you're a meat eater who's a beta simp cuck like me. the biggest pussy on this side of the Mississippi. You don't want to know, like, the meat that you're eating, at least as a kid. Like, there's that moment where you find out that, oh, here's how the sausage gets made. It kind of like, you don't want to be reminded of it every time that you eat meat. So it's like when I eat chicken, I don't think I'm eating the animal chicken. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I'm eating a food product called chicken. I'm not eating the animal chicken. I'm eating a food product called chicken. It's a food product. I don't want to, I don't want to know that someone had to kill a chicken and go through all this rigmarole just to like put more weight on my fat ass. So I found a bone in one. I was like kind of grossed out, but I was like, I'm more okay with bone than I am with hair. As soon as I find a hair in the meal, like that's done. I don't care what meal. I don't care if it's my last meal on death row. No thanks, warden. Stick it to me. I'm ready to meet my maker. But the wife, so I go, my wife sees there's a bone on my styrofoam plate, and she's like, you found a bone? And I was like, yeah, like kind of like hinting that I'm a little grossed out by it. And she goes, oh, that's how you know it's good. I was like, okay, you're a dirty girl. They also had French onion dip, which I keep forgetting how it's probably why we don't keep it in the house. And when we do have it in the house, it's gone in 5 minutes. French onion dip is one of the best inventions of mankind by far. You're rating dips. If you rate dips, I think French onion has to be top 3 for me, at least. So I was just taking like handfuls of pretzels. I wasn't even doing like they had like, I guess they had potato chips, maybe even tortilla chips and pretzels. And normally you would take one pretzel and do a little petite dip and nibble and take your time. I was taking like stacks of chips and pretzels combined in one hand and just doing a big old mega scoop like that, shoving it in my stupid face. A lot of stress eating. This Christmas, so much stress eating. It was insane. And it was just like, and part of me was like, well, I'm doing this because the diet starts Monday, like January, whatever. And then it's now what, January 5th, Tuesday. And I have not slowed down at all. It's like, what's the point? So this is what I don't get. You work your dick off, not eating right, trying to exercise here and there, and you lose a pound in a week. And you're like, I can gain a pound in an hour, dude. Why is that not? It doesn't correlate. I'm thinking about doing the njdiet.com. They're not a sponsor, but it's like anytime that there's some kind of pseudoscience that seems really legit, and Big Cat talks about this from Barstool all the time, but like, as long as there's something that sounds sciencey and it sounds, as opposed to like Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or something where it's like, we'll give you these meals and you'll eat sensibly. It's like, all right, this NJ diet's like, we're going to take your hair and saliva and we're going to analyze it. And then we're going to find out what foods make you fat. And you're not going to eat, like, seems like there's some kind of like research and a laboratory. It just feels like it's a little more involved. So it's like, I might sign up for that. Noom is the same thing. I might do both. Just fuck it and see, like, pit them against each other and be like, Noom said this. Well, NG Diet said this. Yeah. So my daughter, loved hanging out with the older kids. There are a couple older kids there, and she was just following them around. And this is what's so crazy is like we could try playing with her if it's just her and us, mommy, daddy, her. Here, there's all these toys. Trying to play with her and the toys, trying to make her to go outside. It's just like nope, screaming, hitting, throwing, tirading. But you put her around older kids and they just run. Just run from room to room, and she just follows them. That's all. And it's the time of her life. That and the exercise equipment. There was some exercise equipment at this house, like one of the oldest pieces of exercise equipment I've ever seen in my life. One of those pieces of exercise equipment where it just makes 0 sense. you're looking at the display and you're like, up is down, left is right, like north is south. What? I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Like there's all these weird metrics and measurements on the thing. Like it was made in Russia or something. Like not even in the Queen's English. I was just like, what is this measuring? Like, okay, I get manual, but then there's like 5 other settings that I'm sure no one uses. Plenty of dust on that exercise equipment, but she like couldn't get enough of it and couldn't really wrap her tiny little pretty little dumb head around the fact that her legs aren't long enough to reach the pedals. Couldn't bring herself to understand it. That and there was a rascal. There was an electric motor scooter in this house, and she wanted it. I almost had to make an offer, because she was just on it and she just wanted to roll and cruise the streets at 5 miles per hour. So it was fun. I was doing shots of JMO, had some Christmas cookies. There was a small pond of fish outside, which, for whatever reason this Christmas, it was like, we're just going to turn up the heat to like 60 for a couple days. Why not? Everyone wants a white Christmas. Go fuck yourselves. It's 2020, dude. You don't get what you want in 2020. No one does. So it was a small pond of fish. And so we're all like going over there, and I guess you can put your hand in the pond and the fish will come up and nibble at it. But it's like, I'm thinking to myself, what happens if it were actually like 2 days ago and it should be frozen over? Like, where do they go? Like, I don't think there's a portal back to the fish community or like to the nearby lake. Like, what did they freeze along? I think someone said that they like go into hibernation. And I was thinking, how as humans are we just totally screwed on the hibernation front? Bears hibernate, apparently fish hibernate. Like, I would love to just take January to March, like February off. Be like, I'm going to hibernate for 2 months, come back refreshed. Be amazing. No dice. So Christmas Day, woke up at a decent hour, 8:30. And we come down, I'm like, I tried to take a video of Bree because now it seems like she's a little more aware of what's going on in terms of, Christmas. She can say the word Santa. Last Christmas, it was like she could barely speak and like she could walk, but it was like she had no clue what was going on. And this year, it's like she has a little more wherewithal. So it's like we wanted to get it on tape. And so I walked down behind her. And it's like everyone's got their camera phones out with the lights on. And it was like, she's walking the red carpet at a premiere. And just stone-faced. That's just how she rolls. Resting bitch face for life, son. Like she could be exploding inside. And I'm sure she was just like heart racing, just like so excited that this was all happening, that Santa came. But you would never in a million years be able to tell with the look on her face and how she behaved. She just casually strolled up to like the biggest present and was just like, cool. Yeah, this looks cool. Just like soaking it in the whole time. And it took her, so goddamn long to open all the presents. I mean, we started at like 8:30 and I think she got done. Like people started peeling off. People just tapped out, like her grandma and step grandpa in law, whatever. They were just like, we got shit to do. And I was like, it's Christmas. What do you got to do? And it was like, just something other than watching her slowly open gifts. And so she got done probably at like 2-3 o'clock. She got so many goddamn Paw Patrol gifts because she's just obsessed with Paw Patrol or Dasho. So like socks, slippers, pajamas. She got like the Dino Rescue Tower. She got like the normal tower that they hang out in. It was just Paw Patrol left and right. A teepee. She got a friggin' teepee, which, there's some jokes here and there. And I don't know, like, is that cultural appropriation? Hope not. I mean, teepees are cool, in my opinion. I think it's cool for a child to hang out in a teepee. We don't need to get into the history of it all. And then I had to assemble. She got a Paw Patrol couch that converts into like a futon type thing. And I guarantee it's more comfortable than 99% of futons. Like it's a couch, and then you unfold the cushions or whatever, and you can lay on it. So she loves that. But the gift that really gave me a tremendous headache, the Toy Story chair. The Toy Story chair. Every parent has that story about a Christmas toy that has to be assembled. And you have to do it not in front of the kid, away from the kid, so that they don't know about it. And it usually is done last minute in the wee hours in the morning. And so I actually got out of that duty somehow, finagled my way out of it. Well, there was some shit that went down on Christmas Eve. Well, I won't get into, but so I took Bree up to the bed to go to sleep, and my wife and her sister decided that they were going to take a stab at it. So we come down on Christmas Day, find out not finished, and they were like, "We know what you think, but we followed the instructions to a T. The instructions suck, and we're pretty sure that one of the holes is not the right size," and that threw everything off. And I was like, "Okay, ladies, okay," and so I was like, "All right, well, we can't give it to her like this. This is like half a chair. You don't even have the bottom, rung here. You need to get this on. Like it's like incomplete. I can't have this." So I was like, "I'll take a stab at it." And so I did, not knowing that it would, in order to finish the chair, I would have to completely undo the chair, meaning I had to take apart the entire chair. And they were like 85% done, probably almost 90% done. So I just unravel all that spool and go back to step one. And they were fucking spot on, because those instructions sucked. I can't stand instructions like that. And and I don't know if it's a culture thing or a language thing or what, but it's like, why not at some point early on in the process say, do not skip this step, or do this first before this, as opposed to, here's a picture with like 8 different screws attacking 4 different panels that are all look like they're all going together at once. Like, how am I supposed to do that? I have 2 hands. It really is a 2-person job, which they don't tell you that. So my stepfather-in-law is just sitting there high off his ass, just laughing at me and just watching. I'm going, oh boy, ooh, good. And I'm like grunting, and like my back is giving out, because that's the thing that happens once you get into your 30s and 40s, where it's just like anytime that you are just like sitting on the ground or just like trying to, I don't know, the back just completely starts to give out. So that comes into play. They give you these fucking screws that are just they're just made up screws. They're just like fictitious screws that they don't exist in the world. They're just these unique, one-of-a-kind screws that just don't make any sense. And it's like, okay, well, I need to put both of these screws in at the same time. But in order to make sure that I get to the screw, I have to tilt it. And guess what? Screw falls out. It was just like maddening. And I had to go. It was fucking Paul Abdul and that cartoon fox, the cartoon wolf. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Opposite track. It was unreal. I would get progress and I'd be like, here we go, get some good vibes going. And then it would be like, oh, but you need to do this before you did that. All right, back it up. Beep, beep. So that I was like, and then once that was done, I was like, I am getting so goddamn drunk because I just wasted my entire afternoon, and she probably won't even sit in it because it's hard as a rock. She doesn't even like Buzz Lightyear. So that's false. She loves Buzz Lightyear. By the way, Tim Allen no longer is the voice of Buzz Lightyear. It's now Chris Evans. Like, what did Tim Allen do? He did some coke in the 80s and got arrested, right? Is that what's coming back to cancel him? Like, what's going on? Also, by the way, Tim Allen has had a sitcom that I guess has been successful for the past decade called Last Man Standing. I keep seeing promos for that, and I'm like, who watches that? And this is coming from someone who liked Home Improvement a fair amount before I discovered booze and chicks, bro. So that was Christmas Day. My wife and I said we weren't going to get each other any gifts. My wife went on an Apple rampage and just bought all the Apple products for shits and gigs. And I got a new computer. And so it was like, we're not going to exchange gifts. Like, we've already spent enough. And so I was like, there's always that. It's just, it doesn't feel right, right? No matter how many times you repeat it to each other, no matter how many times you tell each other, hey, we're just not going to give gifts. We're just not going to do it. You cave last minute. And that's what I did. I caved. I was like, I can't not do it, especially when we're over her mother's place with her grandmother and her sister. Get the fuck out of here. There's no way I can go empty handed. So I was like, all right, last minute panic move. And I got her a dozen bottles of wine from a site called Wink, WINC. And I was concerned because I thought it was not going to be delivered in time because we're supposed to leave Wednesday night, the 23rd, and we ended up leaving on Thursday. But I think I ordered it on like that previous Saturday. I was like, especially with the holidays. And I love this little bit. I love how companies are doing this. Order now so you get our product in time for the holidays. In big, bold ass letters with a red background flashing on the site. On every site. Order now to get it by Christmas. Order now to get it by Christmas. So you think, oh, okay, I'm still good. So you place the order, you go through all those steps, you pick the 12 wines, you do your research, you pick the 12 wines, you add it to the cart, you create an account, because why not? You get $5 off, whatever the fuck it is. You join the newsletter, it's another $5 off. And you enter your shipping address, you add your payment information, this and that and this and that. Click submit on the order. And these websites, these companies have the fucking balls to say, oh, we're experiencing heavier than expected shipping volume is shipping, and not going to be available. It might not be available. It's like, funny. You didn't mention that in your nav bar at the very tippity top there, your website where it says order now to get it in time for holidays. Didn't fucking mention that. And they also didn't give me like any kind of shipping options whatsoever. It was just like, I guess, at some point in the year 2020 would be nice, or 2021, whenever. No big deal. And you couldn't even select. Now, I know I'm shitting all over Wink right now. The wines are great, by the way. So the selection of wines is good. I mean, it's crazy how I selected 2 bottles of wine. I go to submit my order 2 seconds later, and they're like, ooh, poof, they gone. It's like, okay. So the wines were good. They taste great. Less filling. But at the same time, like, no shipping options. So you'd have no idea how long it's going to take. And then it's like, is this could you ask me if this is a gift? Because it is a gift, and I don't want, someone to accidentally open it. And if they do open it, I want them to know it's a gift. And nope. And of course, so I was fully expecting it to not come in time and be like, you know what? But I did the whole, I prefaced, well beforehand, like, hey, I got you a nice gift. It's not going to be here. Probably not going to be here in time for Christmas, which happened to a bunch of people this year. At least 2 or 3 other people I know. And lo and behold, I'm working at my desk. She's working at her desk. Doorbell rings. And I took just half a second to kind of just close out what I was doing on my computer to make my way to the front door. And she just sprints down. And the guy, I open the door and pull on the box, and and Wink, WINC, looks like wine. W-I-N-E. I mean, the way that they have their fucking font, it's like you just got to make one little and it's an E. And so she's like, oh, wine. I was just like, all right, Christmas ruined yet again. I'm 0 for the century on getting good gifts that she doesn't see coming, that she loves, and that are not ruined. I mean, the fucking Janet Jackson tickets I got her a few years ago. You know, it's like, oh, you're gonna get pregnant? 51, cool. Cancel your tour. Okay. I got to see my stepfather-in-law's DIY AR-15. He built a fucking automatic rifle. And it was light as shit. And I was like, I don't know if this is this legal? So, I don't know. But then he showed me a non-self constructed AR-15, and it was significantly heavier. And I'm sitting there, and it's like, I don't know if it was Christmas, the day after Christmas, but it was like, it's Christmas. Everyone's in the living room, and like, I don't even know how to hold this thing. All I know is like, I see like in what is it, The Town or True Detective, or anytime there's like people who know how to handle a large weapon like that are usually run with it down like that, or like against their chest. So I was like holding it like that permanent. I did not want to pick it up at all, because I knew it was like, Bree's going to come like, Daddy, and then try and hug me, and just be like, brrr. Yes, the safety's probably on. Okay, gun nuts. Yeah, the safety's probably on, but it's still a little nerve wracking to be standing there with 2 rifles. And It's a Wonderful Life is playing on the TV. We ordered dinner from this place in New Jersey. So my mother-in-law's place is in Bucks County, PA, across the river. And it's not like right across the river. It's like another 10-minute drive. And they're like, oh, we order from this place in Jersey all the time. We order delivery from there. I'm like, you order delivery from a restaurant in New Jersey when you're 10 minutes in a PA? That's insane. But we did, and it was fantastic. Italian place, Gamali, which didn't even know if that was a thing. I never heard of it in my life. And now I'm a part Italian. I'm sure the Italians are pissed that I'm Italian, but that's the truth. So Gamali, little corkscrew noodles with mushrooms and sausage and some kind of white sauce. It's like calamari and chicken rollatini with vodka sauce. Oh, dude, Revere is the place. So good. Highly recommend. Had a lot of leftovers for the day after, and it was just like they basically just, their vodka sauce is so addictive, it's like crack. So we just order like a tub. You just order, can you have a tub of vodka sauce to go? And then you just need to get whatever bread you have available. Or you can be like me and just take your hand and dip it in, just suck your hand off. Or you can do what Brie does, which she takes a food product like a chip or bread or something like that, and she'll dip it in the dip, whatever it is, ketchup, whatever, and then suck the dip or the ketchup off the food product, and then go back for the double dip, and then suck, and then go back for the triple dip. She's going to be hit at parties, tell you that much. Party animal. I think that Saturday night, we ended up going to the light show at Shady Brook Farms. And I have not been to a lot of light. I can't even tell you the last time I've been to a light show. But damn, this was a good one. It was very illuminating. It was a place called Shady Brook Farms, which we've been there before for like Halloween. They have like haunted hayride and stuff back before the pandemic happened. And we weren't really sure how Brie was going to react, but it was magnifique. So Christmas morning, no reaction. Light show at night, all the reactions. She was just so fired up. And what I'm interested about with her is that she's in this phase now where she can point to things and say the thing, and we pretty much get what she was saying. But it's almost like she doesn't She either doesn't believe that we understand that we understand what she's saying, or she is like super emphatic. So she'd be like, Santa. And we're like, yeah, I know. And she'd be like, Santa. And we're like, yeah, we know. And she's like, Mama, Dada, Santa. It's like, lady, we got it the first time you said it. Like, you don't have to repeat yourself. And the funniest part of that is we'll be like, look, Frosty. And she'd be like, I know, Mama. It's like, well, you weren't saying anything. And if you did say something, you'd say it 5 times. So the light show was a big hit. And then that Sunday, the next day, I watched the Giants get ravaged by the Ravens in Baltimore on my cell phone, because we couldn't watch it on the big screen TV because no one on that side of the family likes football. I said this last week, maybe the last episode. I think I'm the only person in my whole family that loves football. It's like, and for the longest time, I thought that was like our thing as a family. Like, we all love football. And I was like, no, it's actually just you. We're all just catering to you. It's like, oh, the prince and the pupper. So yeah, they got the beat down of a century, and it was like, oh, well, we're out of the playoffs. And then the Panthers beat the Washington football team, and then the Cowboys beat the Eagles, eliminating the Eagles from postseason contention, and that kept the Giants' playoff dreams alive. And I said to myself, holy shit, are we really going to be the first 6-10 team to win a division and go to the playoffs? Yes, we are. Ended up driving home. Oh, we played Taboo. Well, we played 2 games. We played one game called Incoherent, and God bless my wife. Even though she gets... Playing games with her can be rough sometimes. I found that out over the first 2 or 3 years of relationship. Anytime we play a game against each other, it was just like, I can't react in any way. And I can't try to win, but I can't try not to win. I can't not try to win. So anytime she gets a game, I'm like, I don't want to play with you. So Incoherent is like, it's a card. You have the person. So you have a card. You pick the card you have, and the card says what the word is that the person needs to guess to get it right. And then you have to say, these are a bunch of like kind of gibberish words that when you string them together should tune the person into what the phrase or word is. So there was one that it was like Netflix and chill. It was like Netflix and ill. And if you say it quickly, Netflix and chill. Gonna be honest, not a great game, but it was like, I mean, it's an alright game. You know, if you get a couple cocks in you, a couple cocktails in you, it turns out like you can play anything. So I was enjoying myself. And I don't think my sister-in-law was, though. She's like, was not having it. But they have like the dirty cards too. So there's like a dirty section and there's like a normal section, and there are various like categories, I think, and whatnot. But it's not bad. I think if you're like it would be funny, like if you're like, you got to be drunk, you got to be in an altered state to play that game, I'm pretty sure. Then we played Taboo, which is from most famously from Four Christmases, which is one of my wife's favorite movies, Christmas movies. And I was like, I feel like we're going to go down the same road. Like we're gonna get into this competition, and like I'm not gonna know. You're like, I'm gonna give you bad clues, and you're not gonna guess like our inside jokes, and it's like we're just gonna, I don't know. So we're all gonna end up breaking up at John Voight's house. So we played Taboo, and it got to the point where it was like the buzzer thing, like Bree had to have the buzzer and was just buzzing left and right. So we turned the buzzer off. And so there were a couple of like itchy tricky trigger figures on the buzzer once we got it back. And tensions were high. I gotta admit, tensions were high. with Taboo. Because if you're not familiar with Taboo, you get a card. The word is at the top, and then you have like there's 5 words below it. You're not allowed to say any of those 5 words when you're given clues. And I feel like I did all right. It was funny though because I think Mum, Cassie's grandmother, stepped in, and Cassie's like, "Watch this." She's like watches Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune every night, and so she looked at the card, and it was just like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall when like the mask starts to malfunction when he's going through security check. 2 weeks. So yeah, that was tough, but it's Taboo. It's tough. There's some where it's just like, I have like, what? There are no other words. I'm wordless. And then we did like a reverse one where, you can give the word, and then people have to guess the 5 other words, the 5 other clues that you're not supposed to say. So you could Missy Elliott it, flip it and reverse it. Yeah. So after that, I drove home, which I felt bad about, but it was like, I do have work, the next day. My wife decided to stay with the baby and work, and she regretted it because the baby, Brie, just wants all of her attention all the time, nonstop. I mean, we were laying in bed today, and it was, as soon as we both like look at our phones, she's like, "Dada phone, mama phone, dada phone, mama phone." I was like, all right. It's actually a pretty nice little, you know how like iPhones have that screen time warning, or most like platforms have screen time warnings. Like she is a living, breathing screen time warning. But so I drove home by myself, and I watched the first episode of Lovecraft Country, which I freaking loved. And I'd love to watch more of Lovecraft Country, but it's a little difficult now. Like the fact that I'm even recording this episode right now is a goddamn miracle, because Brie no longer sleeps in her room, and neither of us wanted to sleep in her room. So now she's in her bed. But initially we blew up the air mattress. We put it at the foot of the bed, and we're like, you sleep in here, or one of us will sleep in here with you. And then I was like, that sucked. So I was like, just come in here. But what that means is like, okay, we're trying to get her to bed at 8. So that means, like Saturday, we both had to lay with her until she fell asleep. And luckily she fell asleep within like 10, 15 minutes. And then we could like slowly creep away and get out and come downstairs and watch a movie. And then there are other days or nights where it's just like, I wanted to watch Wonder Woman 1984. I think on Saturday night. And she was up till 1:30 in the morning with me watching Wonder Woman 1984. Was it worth it? Yeah. You'll have to wait for my review. New Year's Eve, I kind of did it up right, all things considered. We couldn't really go out, couldn't really go to a party, couldn't do any of that stuff. So I was like, I still want to make it a little bit special. It's the last day of the year. Might as well like ball out on a budget still. I ordered from Drizzly, which if you don't know about Drizzly, I mean, if you remember, there was an app called Minibar back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago. That's all we used on the weekends, because there wasn't really a liquor store by us at the estuary in Weehawken. So we just ordered from Minibar, and it just like connects to all the local liquor stores in the area, and you select what you want, and boom, you get someone to deliver it to you. And Minibar is just not available. Once we moved to the burbs, like Minibar was like not available in your area. So we're like, okay. And then Drizzly, I was like, fuck this noise. I hate that we have to keep like going out in order to get a booze run going, and it's just annoying. So it's like, and you don't care how long it takes. Most times, you just order it, and it's like, if it gets there in like 2 hours, that's fine. You can wait it out. It's not like you're so thirsty. It's like, no, with food, it's different, but with booze, it's like, if you need to take your time, take your time. So Drizzly comes along. They're not a sponsor, but I do have a code. and I need to find that code and put it in the old script. But man, it's like a godsend. And there's always like a good code that works to get that $5 off. So I ordered these little bottles of rosé type carbonated drink that tasted amazing. Bottle of Prosecco, Vive Click. I don't even know how to say that. And some other fancy champagne that was highly recommended. That's like the same price as Vive Click or whatever. Which, by the way, it's like, I don't know how some of these companies feel right about themselves charging the kind of money they, I know I sound like a cheapskate, but like, how do you sleep knowing that you're charging that much money for a bottle that's gonzo in like an hour? But I also ordered delivery from a fancy steakhouse around the way, and it's like they were just not prepared to take and it's like, why would you have that? You have like delivery and free delivery on your website and everywhere that you're advertising your steakhouse. If you like are caught that off guard, like you have to think that New Year's Eve, people are not going to parties, so they're going to be ordering. They're going to make a fancy dinner. Or the majority of people are going to try and order something fancy, to party and live it up at their house. And the woman who picked up this phone, English is not her native language, I don't think, and was just like, yeah, they must have been short-staffed as fuck, because it was just like everything I said was just like, hold on, and like you could hear her asking like, do we deliver? And it's like, you picked up the phone, lady. Is there no one else who can take delivery orders? You don't even know that you're delivering. So, but oh my God. And I mean, this is what I've talked about this before, but this is what I hate the most about this fucking complex that we're in, this townhouse that we're renting. It's like a fairly new street. Like they built a street and then they built houses on the street. And it's a dead end street. It's a cul-de-sac street. And it's like it was built in the past probably 3 years, I'd say. Probably the past 3 or 4 years. And so I don't know what is going on, but every time I plug our address into Google Maps, it shows up. 26, I can't say the full address because we don't need that smoke, right? But, you plug it into Google Maps. Shows up. You plug it into Waze, shows up. You plug it into what I use, you plug it in and it shows up and it shows you directions. I don't know what the fuck these delivery people are putting into what phones they have, what systems they have, what GPS they have that just can't figure out that we don't live in goddamn West Caldwell. So, and I want to make sure that we got this. And I was like, it's fine if it takes 2 hours to get here. It's fine. But I want to make sure it gets here because there's a dude who has our same address in the next town over who's getting all our food. He's just getting all our deliveries because people are so lazy. And it's like, why do you have that instructions field if you're not going to fucking read the instructions? And I'm not going to blame the restaurants because all the time, because for some reason, these apps and these websites that take these orders and that have the instructions field, they don't communicate that shit at all to the restaurant at all. So I can understand how the restaurants are not seeing that because it's just like it just never makes its way to them. But then for the people we do get the instructions, it's like, But when I'm on the phone and I'm like, I'd like to pay for it with a credit card. Can I pay with the Amex? Hold on. Can we pay with the Amex? And it's like, okay. And I was like, okay. Do you need to know where I live? Do we need to know where? Like asking a question every time I ask a question. So I give her the address and I'm like, hold on. Now, before she's like, we need to call you back. I was like, oh my God, why is this so hard? Like you say you do delivery, you have a phone number to call for delivery. I call the number for delivery, deliver the friggin' food. Act like you've been there before, bro. Barry Sanders. So they call me back And I guess it's the owner, the manager who can speak English is just like, yeah. So we have your order. And he's like, and I was like, I want to put the tip on, my card. So like, okay, 10%, even though, so they were like, we don't know the total. And I was like, what's the total? And like, we don't know the total. We got to call you back. Like, okay, you guys pricing it on the fly. I like it. Not just market price, but like real-time market price. So he gets on the phone and he's like, all right, so where's this going? I give him the address and I was like, now I don't want to confuse you because we've had confusion in the past. So here's like all the instructions about, it's down the street from this, 1 block north of this, diagonal from this, across the street from this, down the street from this. It's a townhouse complex. There's a white Mazda, there's a cult, like, all these things, like so many instructions that if you just wrote down one of them, you would have found our fucking place. And he's like, hold on. Let me get the driver. The driver's right here. You can talk to the driver directly and you can give him all those instructions and he'll get it. And so, all right. So I give all the instructions, A to Z, soup to nuts to this motherfucker. And he's like, got it. And he's like, 24. I'm like, no, that's not it. You know what I said? It's this number. It's not that number. Oh, in this town? No. This town. Okay. So what happens? Hour and a half, 2 hours later, this dude is like, it's a number. I don't recognize the number. I pick it up anyway because I'm expecting it's probably him. He's like, and he just goes, hey, you don't have a doorbell. And I'm like, what? I don't have a doorbell? Pretty sure I have a doorbell. And he goes, do you have a piece of paper taped to your front door that says, please knock? And I go to my front door, I open it. He's not there. There is no piece of paper taped to my front door. There's a wreath and we have a doorbell. And I was like, you're not my place. He goes, you live in a house, right? And I was like, we live in a townhouse. And he's like, oh, you're not in West Caldwell? And I was just like, motherfucker. You gotta be kidding me, dude. You gotta be kidding me. I can't give any more instructions than I do. It started off when we first moved here. I was like, oh, we're here. And now it's like, we're here, down the street from here, across from here. But when you see this, you've gone too far. When you see this sign, when you see this post, there's this in the front. It's like, I'm literally painting the most vivid of mental pictures for you. And it still didn't, and he still didn't get it right. He came here and eventually just saw a car, like a big car, just like slowly going around the cul-de-sac. That's when you know it's a delivery person because it's like just slowly rolling up. And so he ends up on the other side. And it's just like, he was like outside, like, are you gonna answer your door? Because he called again. He's like, are you gonna answer your door? I was like, no one's knocked or rung the doorbell, dude. He's like, I'm outside. I don't know where you are. It's like, I'm in the place I told you where I would be, you dumb bitch. So the food was great though. Amazing food. Filet mignon burger. What? Brussels sprouts with bacon, asparagus au gratin, calamari, obviously calamari. I had like a dynamite burger where it was like really good beef, but then it was like shrimp, like big ass shrimp and a spicy sauce on top. So good. And what else? Maybe some mashed tates, I think. Oh man. And stuffed artichoke, which stuffed artichoke is one of those things where it's always sounds good in my head. And then I eat it and I remember how frustrating it is to eat. It's one of the most frustrating things. That and crabs are two of the most frustrating things to eat in the world. Because it's stuffed artichoke. It looks like it almost, to me, it feels like it should be a bloomin' onion, right? Boom, bloomin' onion. You take it, you eat it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to scrape or think about like, do that thing with your, like, I just want to take the leaf, pop it in my mouth. That's all I want to do. But apparently you scrape. And then if some of it gets in your mouth, then that's fine. Oh, okay, cool. So that was New Year's Eve. We watched Soul, which is a great movie. And I'll get to the best movies of 2020 in a heartbeat. Watched the ball drop in bed. I honestly thought Brielle was going to make it, and she didn't. Her tiny little face shut down. Her eyes couldn't make it to midnight, but it was still a nice little moment because I still got to kiss my wife and clink and cheers. Brielle's into cheersing now, big time. And we got her a champagne glass, put some water in it, and she was cheersing like she had won a 5-leg parlay, just like cheersing out the ass. She got the promotion. She got the raise. The house closed. Down payment on the car. So New Year's Day, just college football my face off. Peloton. I did the holiday movie Buff Ride with Kendall on Peloton, which I highly recommend. It has like all the best songs from the top Christmas movies. So there was like the Home Alone jam, Elf, the Santa Claus, a couple others in there, mixed in 30 minutes. So good. I like that a lot. Didn't get my personal record, didn't get my PR, but I like it a lot. All right, let's talk about the best TV shows of 2020. I'll do I didn't rank these, but I'll go. The way I'm looking at it, I didn't order it right, but I'm going to try and order it right for you right here. I'll start with no, it's all right. I'll start with number 10, which I can't believe this is still the same year, 2020. Tiger King. It comes in at 10, which it was a goddamn phenomenon for a hard week into a month. I think it was like everyone was obsessed, and rightfully so. It was a fucking amazing show. So I had that as 10. Number 9, I had Upload. I like this show a lot. I was not crazy about the male lead, the protagonist at the beginning. I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get on board with this. It feels a little forced. But then it came around due to the supporting cast. So I'm looking forward to season 2, if there is going to be a season 2. McMillions, I had it at number 8. Just a absurd docuseries about that friggin' Monopoly game at McDonald's, which I don't know if I ever actually played, but great docuseries. If you have the time, I highly recommend checking it out. I mean, the fucking FBI agent, what's his face, who's just like so gung-ho and like energetic, but like kind of dopey at the same time, and just like loved playing parts. Like I think he wanted to be an actor. So that's number 8. Number 7 is Umbrella Academy, which I don't even know. I guess it didn't really come out. Did it come out in 2020? Yeah, it did. Season 2 came out in 2020. So yeah, season 2 of Umbrella Academy. I just discovered the series this year, so I actually watched season 1 and season 2. But such a great show. You know, I know the superhero genre is kind of like a little oversaturated. It seems like it's every other week there's some other new show or movie about superheroes, but it didn't feel like that. Didn't feel like the Marvel type superheroes. It felt very grounded and down to earth. Number 6 of my best TV. These are my favorite TV shows of 2020. So I guess my favorite best TV shows of 2020 that I've seen. A lot of shit I haven't seen. I mean, dude, got a life. So 10's Tiger King, 9 Upload, 8 McMillions, 7 Umbrella Academy, 6 I had Solar Opposites. I'm not like a diehard Rick and Morty fan. I kind of binge it once the season's done. Like maybe I'll try and catch it when it's going on, when it's happening. But I typically just binge it after the season's done. This one it was it on Hulu or Amazon Prime? It's an animated series, and I think all I'm pretty sure all 10 episodes or however many episodes were just available at once. You could binge it all at once, and I did. Hard. Highly recommend if you like Rick and Morty. So that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5, I've Dead to Me. That friggin' show, dude. Every episode is good. And if you're thinking, oh, this is like a not so good episode, Dead to Me, the final like minute to 2 minutes will completely change your mind. It's like they always find a way to fucking flip mode the situation and turn it into a cliffhanger. Christina Applegate and the lady from Freaks and Geeks, and she was a New Girl. Oh, what the hell's her name? Very cute. And also, what's his face from James Marsden, Sonic the Hedgehog and Westworld and everything else under the sun. So that's number 4. Or did I only have? You know what? I probably should have numbered these. Way to go, dude. Way to go. Do I even have 10? No, I have 9. Good job. All right, you know what? 10. I'm going to put... I don't know if I want to do that. Oof, man. Yeah, I guess 10 I'd have to do... It's between The Undoing or Westworld. Season 3. I'm going to go Westworld Season 3 at 10. Fuck it. So 10's Westworld Season 3, even though I was like, it's probably not the best season of Westworld. It still ended. It kept my interest that I want to see Season 4. And that's good, right? Good enough. And so 9's Tiger King, blah, blah, blah. So 4 is Dead to Me. 3 is The Mandalorian. Hell of an ending. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I got it spoiled for me on Twitter. Thanks, Twitter. But yeah, I like where that show's going. I think there's going to be all kinds of spin-offs from it. I think both. I mean, I guess it's not so much a spoiler now if you haven't watched, but there is a character in The Mandalorian that's going to get his or her, or his and her own spin-off series. Had a surprise cameo guest appearance in the finale. It's set up for a big major showdown going into season 3. So I'm very pumped. It's what Star Wars should be, or should have been. Number 2 is The Last Dance. I mean, that fucking docuseries was just electric. As a person, as someone like when I was, when Jordan entered the league, I was 4 or 5. And then when he started to hit his stride and got his first repeat, I was like 10, 11, 12. And then his second repeat, I was 14, 15, 16, I think. So, yeah, it was like my formative years, and you always look at Michael Jordan as like this, as a kid, you didn't really know about the gambling or the father being killed possibly because of the gambling. You just didn't know any of that. I mean, I did know his father died, but I don't remember him being like murdered. And you didn't know like how much of you knew he was a competitor, but you didn't know to what extent when you're a kid, because you didn't get to see the behind the scenes of like how he could be relentless with his teammates. So that was a really fun watch. And they're going to do one on the 86 Mets, brah. It's going to be so good. So good. So, The Last Dance. Yes. Bring it back, y'all. And then number 1's The Boys. I mean, I couldn't sing its praises enough. I fucking love The Boys so much. And I think that's going to get a spin-off series as well. And yeah, I just just love how much of a prick Homelander is. And Carl Urban as Billy the Butcher. Mother's Milk, even like, I mean, just everyone just nails their part so well. And it's just grungy and grimy and filthy. And another one of those shows similar to Dead to Me, where it's just like it finds new ways to surprise you and catch you off guard. So those are my 10 favorite / best TV shows of 2020. Honorable mentions, I already mentioned one of them, The Undoing. You know, for what it was worth, I mean, it kept you guessing. We ended up rewatching it with the in-laws over the holidays, and it was just amazing. You know, on the second watch to see everyone's gears turning and them asking the same questions that we were asking, and like trying not to tip them off. We're like, well, I don't know. So many times where they ask questions and you know the answer, and you're like, I don't know. You're trying to like say I don't know in a way that doesn't tip them off. And so yeah, The Undoing has an honorable mention, and then I'm in progress on these top TV shows of 2020. Queen's Gambit, I think we're in episode 3, but man, what a start to that show. It's a show about friggin' chess, and it's amazing. Well, Anya Taylor-Joy, I mean, she's just like, she could be fucking watching paint dry, and you're like, this is intense shit. Lovecraft Country, what I mentioned, I am on episode 2, and I'm already hooked. We kind of, I don't know. We started watching Haunting of Bly Manor right around Halloween, and I was just like, this is too intense. I don't know if I'm in the mood to have like back to back night terrors. And then top TV shows that I have not seen that I would like to see. Ted Lasso. I think this is on Apple Plus. It's with, he just broke up with Olivia Wilde. He was in We're the Millers. I cannot believe I can't remember his name at this point. That is amazing. The Outsider, which I think is with Jason Bateman. Stephen King adaptation on HBO. The Plot Against America, another HBO show. HBO is just like, Netflix was like, hey, HBO, check this out. We're greenlighting everything. And then HBO was like, oh, shit. Let's greenlight everything. So now they have like a lot more shows, but a lot more good shows as well. Plot Against America. I feel like that's the show where it's like, I want to say it's the one where we didn't win World War II, but I don't think that's right. An alternate American history during World War II told through the eyes of a working class Jewish family in New Jersey as they endured the political rise of Charles Lindbergh, who captures the presidency and turns the nation towards fascism. Fantastic. I love alternate realities. I want to be in one. And then Raised by Wolves. I think this is also on Apple Plus. 2 androids are tasked with raising human children on a mysterious virgin planet. As the human colony threatens to be torn apart by religious differences, the androids learn that controlling the beliefs of humans is a treacherous and difficult task. Honorable mention, The Morning Show. I guess I should have put The Morning Show. I really like that show. So maybe I'll put Morning... I have to go back and revise it. But I'll give an honorable mention to The Morning Show. But it's right there with Westworld. So you could swap in either one. Westworld or The Morning Show at number 10. So yeah, that's my list of top TV shows of 2020. My favorites, some honorable mentions, some in progress, some I want to see. Let's talk about the best movies of 2020 that I've seen. We'll kick things off with number 10, The Old Guard with Charlize Theron. This was an action flick, kind of superhero-ish. It probably needed a better villain, although I didn't, he did a fairly good job of making me hate him. But I think in terms of respect and fear and stuff like that, it was a Martin Shkreli type guy. That's the dude's name, right? The big pharmaceutical bro that everyone hates. Martin Shkreli. Shkreli. Yeah, so it was kind of a play on Martin Shkreli. And, it's the great premise, executed well. Thought that the up-and-coming action star still has some work to do to get there. She doesn't quite have the same kind of like gravitas as Charlize Theron, but who knows? I think they're going to make a sequel, so should be fun to watch, see how that progression goes. Number 9, I had The Gentleman. And, I remember when I first saw the trailer for The Gentleman, I was like, not another one of these Guy Ritchie movies. Oh, shit. I don't know if I want to see this. It's the same old bollocks, whatever the hell the Brits say. But no, it was great. I loved it. Just like I've loved most of the other movies that he's made. So, highly recommend it. It's got Matthew McConaughey, Colin Farrell, just a bunch of people that make it a really great, fun watch. A lot of great scenery, a lot of great costume design, great dialogue. Obviously, Hugh Grant is in it. Charlie Hunnam is in it. So, it's just good old fashioned fun. Number 8, I had The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I just watched this. I think it was. It might have been New Year's Day, Friday night, when it was like my wife and I were in bed and our 2-year-old daughter was just like, could not fall asleep. And I was like, I can't lay here and continue to get kicked in the nads, in the gut, in the back of the head. And I just can't take it anymore. So I was like, I'm going to go sleep on the couch. And so then I came on here, slept on the couch, and watched Wolf of Snow Hollow. And it was fantastic. And I remember seeing it and like adding it to my watch list. There was like 4 or 5 different services where I added it to the watch list, like Fandango Now, Amazon Prime Video. Like everywhere I saw it, I was just like, add it to queue. But I could not find the time. Like I couldn't convince my wife to watch it for one reason or another. I don't know why. And then it was just like, never had the time by myself. And I was like laying on the couch and I was like, fuck it. We're doing it live. It's about a stressed out police officer who struggles not to give in to the paranoia that grips his small mountain town as bodies turn up after each full moon. Oh, kind of like a murder mystery whodunit mixed with a paranormal and with some horror and some comedy. I loved it. So good. I didn't think, when I watched it and after I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I would have placed it on my like list of best movies of 2020, but here we are, number 8. Written, directed, produced, and starring Jim Cummings. I mean, that is like, would you have known that it's like didn't go to theaters and was like direct to streaming services type of movie? No. So, are there any like big names in it? No. There's what's her name? Ricky Lynn something. She had a like IFC show for a little bit. She is part of a comedy duo that plays like the ukuleles or something. So that was number 8. Very nice, great ending. Kept you guessing. Jimmy Tatro was in it, YouTuber, which he's somewhat, becoming a legitimate actor now, I guess. And that's not meant to be a slight. It's just like, there were a couple scenes, I guess, towards the middle of the end where it was just like, not bad, man. Number 7 is Wolf of Snow Hollow. I'm going to do a review of it at some point later down the line, so I don't want to give away too much. So maybe you'll watch it, and then we'll review it together, and we'll talk. Number 7 had Bharat's subsequent movie film. Again, a movie that was like, if you were to ask me, hey, is this in your top 10 movies of 2020? I would have been like, I don't know. But then you look at like everything I've watched in 2020, you're like, okay, I guess this is in the top 10. It's just kind of the year it was. Is it as good as the first one? but it's still, I mean, what's her face? The daughter. She's about to blow up big time. Unbelievable performance. And of course, I just found out that she ended up calling the quote unquote babysitter. Was it Janice Jones or something like that? And wished her a happy Thanksgiving. So it's good that they're staying in touch with her, because I know that she felt a little bamboozled by that whole production. Number 6, I had Love and Monsters. This is another movie I just watched. Was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. This was the movie that I could not bring myself to pay the $20 to rent it. And it's been available to do this premium video on demand early rental access thing, whatever shit they're trying to fling at us. It's been you can rent it for $20 for 3 months now. And so finally you can rent it for $6. And I was like, all right, let's do this shit. And I remember trying to convince my wife to watch it for a few weeks, because it's been available to rent for $6 for 3 or 4 weeks now. And it was just each time it's just couldn't nudge her over the precipice. And then finally I got her. New year, new us. So if you're not familiar, 7 years after the monster apocalypse, Joel Dawson, along with the rest of humanity, has been living underground ever since giant creatures took control of the land. After reconnecting over the radio with his high school girlfriend, who is now 80 miles away at a coastal colony, Joel begins to fall for her again. As Joel realizes that there's nothing left for him underground, he decides to venture out to her, despite all the dangerous monsters that stand in his way. Pretty good. The Dylan O'Brien, I think, is the name of the actor who plays the male lead. And he reminds me a lot of Seth Cohen from the OC. So, which is, I appreciate that kind of brand of dry, subtle wit and humor. But it can be a little, not a little much, but just when it's just kind of the same, it feels a bit monotonous, but fortunately for this role, it never got to that place, because they managed to blend in some nice emotional tug at the heartstrings type storylines that you would expect from something like a monster apocalypse. And I thought I saw the ending coming, and I was like, I know exactly what's coming, I know exactly what's going to happen, and I still felt fulfilled. So I highly recommend it. Love and Monsters. It blends rom-com with apocalypse. I mean, how do you go wrong? And it all felt, and the special effects were great. And it never felt like I was like, Jesus Christ, skimp much? So number 5 is The Half of It. I don't think I reviewed this, but I kind of half reviewed it, because it's one of those movies that's not, I guess, technically not my target demo, quote unquote. But it's a rom-com on Netflix. It's about a shy, introverted student who helps the school jock woo a girl whom secretly they both want. And I dig it. I dig it a lot. Wasn't crazy about the ending, but it was one of those endings where it's it just feels right. It's this is the natural conclusion. I can't argue with it, but I was kind of hoping for a little something different, a little something more. Number 4, Onward. And I know I say that and you're like, dude, I don't think that came out in 2020. It did. It did. It came out right when the our little monster apocalypse happened. The COVID-19 pandemic started. And there was a good stretch of time where Brielle, my daughter, and we watched it every day, pretty much. And there was a time where I was quoting it every day. The day didn't go by where I didn't quote Onward. And it's about a guy or 2 brothers that lost their dad. So it kind of hit home for me. And trying to bring him back. So yeah, it got to me. It got to me big time. And I like that duo of Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. I feel like that's a good duo. Probably see more from them, I would hope, in the future. Number 3, The Invisible Man. It's just insane to see that so much money and time and effort can be spent in trying to put together this dark universe, right? I guess it's from Universal Pictures, right? Trying to put together a dark universe to compete with Marvel's cinematic universe, bring back the Mummy, the Wolfman, all that. And so the Mummy comes out with Tom Cruise, and they got like Russell Crowe lined up, and I forget who else, Benicio del Toro, maybe? No. And it's like kind of flops. And it's like they spent all this money and they put all this effort behind it. It's like it's stalled. Almost similar to what's going on with DC and their shenanigans. But then Invisible Man comes out, and it's like a budget of like what was it? Not 7 million, but it was pretty not expensive, pretty modest, and just crushed it. It was everything that like a horror suspense action movie should be. It made you question yourself, made you question others around you. And very empowering. I'm sure she's maybe not, we wouldn't be best buds in real life, but like watching what's her face? Dear God. Oh, it's so late and I can't remember her name, but from Handmaid's Tale. But she's crushing it. She was also in Us. I can't remember her name. But she does a phenomenal job in this. It's like the perfect casting choice. And I don't know if they're going to make a sequel. I mean, did they leave room for a sequel? Maybe. But I like the angle that they took. Their unique twist on the story that's been told so many times. So that was like the first big. I feel like the first big successful movie that I watched and liked. I think that came out in March too. Although I guess I could be wrong. I guess the first one was Bad Boys for Life, which may or may not have made honorable mentions I've seen. Spoiler, it did. Number 2, Trial of the Chicago 7, which I also just recently watched with Sacha Baron Cohen, the dude from Succession. Can't remember his name. And just a slew of other people. All great people. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it. But it's just bonkers that it's based on true real life events and stories from the 68 Chicago riots. I think 68 Chicago riots around the Democratic National Convention. And 7, I guess there were 7 people on trial, but there was an 8th that they threw in because it was a member of the head of the Black Panther Party. It was just like, yeah, you're black, so you're part of this. And it's like, what? But some crazy scenes in that movie, and I'll have a review of that hopefully in the coming months. Now that it's off season for Los Mets and Los Giants, and then my favorite best movie of 2020 was the one we watched on New Year's Eve, Soul. Holy shit, this is a good show, a good movie. And Bree actually watched it. I think they tried to watch it at my mother-in-law's house, and it just like didn't click for whatever reason. But we watched it on New Year's Eve this go around, and she loved it. Or maybe I was just that entranced by it that I didn't notice that she didn't like it. Either way, I loved it. I liked it, and I highly recommend it. Story of a aspiring jazz musician who's stuck doing gigs, hasn't really, broken to the big time where he can go full time with it. He's kind of doing part-time. He's a part-time music teacher, ends up kicking the bucket. And then it's all about his struggles for his soul to reunite with his body. Because he got the big gig. That could be the big one that breaks him to be a full-time, successful, popular musician. A lot of great life lessons made me reevaluate my own life and be like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be doing all this other shit that's so self-centered. And maybe, I mean, he was saying things in this friggin' movie that's like I say to myself daily. So it's like I need to take a step back and, just appreciate what you got. So those are my top 10 best movies of 2020 that I've seen. The honorable mentions, I have 10 of them of what I've seen. Number 10, I have Black Box. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Kind of a sci-fi thriller in the vein of Memento meets Get Out. I think that's what I pitched it as. At number 9, I have Alone. It's a cold-blooded killer hunts a widow in the wilderness after she escapes from his remote cabin in the Pacific Northwest. That's a good, like, low-budget horror movie that freaked the fuck out of my wife. She was just like, we need, where's my phone? We need to turn the lights on, and can you sign these papers? Number 8. God, I should have reversed this. Number 8 is The Vast of Night, kind of like a Twilight Zone type movie, where there's a possibility of UFOs, of aliens, and people trying to hunt down the truth and finding that truth, and then getting more than they asked for. What? 10, 9, 8, 7 is Yes, God, Yes. I kind of did a briefish review of this a while back. It's about a Catholic schoolgirl. Catholic girl finds herself having tempting thoughts after an AOL chat turns unexpectedly racy. AOL chats, dude. Whoa, dude. Whoa. What was my first AOL chat name? I was in high school, and I think I went with Baby J 98. Because 98 was the year I was going to graduate from high school. And then people said it reminded them of my Uncle Jack. So I said Baby J, like Baby Jack 98. I think that was my first one. My second one was probably something Hopkins 18, I think. I think it was that. And then it became Real Cinch. Nickname given to me by a college football teammate because I am not a sure thing. And then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 6 is Banana Split. This was about the two. It was kind of like some movie. Super Bad, but with women. Which is funny because the one girl, it turns out, I didn't even know this at the time, is Jonah Hill's like sister. Sister or cousin? I think it's his sister. But yeah, it's two ladies, two friends. One of whom is a lesbian, and her like trying to go after a girl that she's not sure is a lesbian because she's dating a guy, maybe. And hijinks ensue. So great movie. And what's his name is in it? Thomas Middleditch. I think he plays a Uber driver. So that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Save Yourselves. I was a little weary about this movie going into it because I was like, I've heard some interesting reviews about how it's like a one-note joke type of movie. And no, it was definitely exploring the dynamics of a couple and their relationship and their hangups, their insecurities, and all that goes along with it. And it kind of hit home for me. And alien invasion movie where the aliens are super cute puffs. And the way that they discover the aliens have invaded. I mean, it's everything about it is felt, even though it's been, the genre has been thoroughly explored. It went about it in its own unique way, and it felt original. So like a rom-com meets alien invasion, sort of like Love and Monsters. Rom-com meets not so much alien invasion, but like monster movie. So I dig it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So at number 4, I have Bill and Ted Face the Music. I've been meaning to give a review for this for a long ass time, but obviously not as good as the original, but I feel like it rounded out the trilogy very nicely and showed just like how the two guys have aged and evolved, and and still maintain the same level of humor that the first two did. My major knock on it are the two daughters, and I love Samara Weaving, I think it is. She's Hugo Weaving's daughter or niece, something like that. But just missed the mark with those two. But I mean, everyone was great. But it's just like, I think they could have maybe gone with two women who are a little more in line with, like, instead of doing an impression of Bill and Ted that are more naturally like the Bill and Ted characters. I don't know. I'm probably like overanalyzing the piss out of it, but so that's 4. 3 is Greyhound with Tom Hanks. War movie, pretty much like nonstop action, where it was just like, how the fuck are you gonna get out of this? How are you still floating on a ship? You got dead people all around you. You haven't slept in days. You haven't eaten in days. So that was a part of history I didn't really know that much about, and so it was interesting to learn about it. Number 9, I had Number 2, I had Birds of Prey. I mean, so close to being a really good DC superhero movie. So close. Harley Quinn, The Huntress, Black Canary. I'm missing a couple, but Ewan McGregor is Black Mask. I think it was Black Mask. It was so close. It was very close, and I think they're talking about giving The Huntress her own movie. So good things are coming out of it, but I'd like to see that story continue. It just felt good. It felt like DC's version of. It almost felt like DC's version of Deadpool a little bit. And then my number 1 honorable mention for movies that I've seen: Bad Boys for Life. That's obviously not the song that goes for it. But Bad Boys for Life. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Yeah. So, I mean, it got like crazy high. Like 96% of the audience gave it a favorable review. I just couldn't get over, like, and I liked the movie a lot. I just could not get over the villain and the twist at the end. I just like, I don't know. That kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. But other than that, I mean, yeah, to see, how far Martin Lawrence and Will Smith have come in their relationship and how it, all that. I liked it a lot. Action scenes were great. It was just that one. And it started off so good too with the villain, the lady in the prison breaking out. That was like fucking awesome. And then it was just like, just spitting out the same lines over and over again every time she talked to her son. So, but yeah. So those are my top movies that I've seen. Now, top movies I want to see. Top movies of 2020 that I want to see. Number 10 is The Lodge. During a family retreat to a remote winter cabin over the holidays, the father is forced to abruptly depart for work, leaving his 2 kids in the care of a new girlfriend. Isolated and alone, a blizzard traps him inside the lodge as terrifying events summon specters from her dark past. Whoa. Okay. Number 9, I have The Rental. This is with Dave Franco. It was directed by Dave Franco, and also stars his wife, Alison Brie. 2 couples on an oceanside getaway grow suspicious that the host of their seemingly perfect rental house may be spying on them. Before long, What should have been a celebratory weekend trip turns into something far more sinister. Yeah, I mean, that's like real life, dude. I mean, Airbnb nightmares 101. Number 8, I've Get Duked. I've been so close to renting this movie over and over. Or not renting. It's like, I think it's free on Amazon Prime. It's a comedy. A camping trip in the Scottish Highlands turns into a fight for survival when 4 teens become the target of vicious hunters. And so there's, right off the bat, great accents going on. And there were a couple good laughs in the trailer. I've watched the trailer like 2 or 3 times now, just like trying to get my wife to buy in, and unfortunately no dice, but maybe I'll squeeze it in here or there. Number 7, I have You Cannot Kill David Arquette. This is a documentary. Branded the most hated man in wrestling after winning a highly controversial WCW World Heavyweight Championship in 2000. That was actually the beginning of the end for WCW. Actor David Arquette attempts a rocky return to the sport that stalled his promising Hollywood career. Dangerously determined to redeem his reputation and reclaim his self-respect, Arquette was stopping nothing to earn his place in professional wrestling. It's admirable, dude. I think that's funny that he would do that. But yeah, that was the beginning of the end for WCW, because they were purchased by Vince McMahon, then WWF in like 2001. So it was like, as soon as they decided, and it was all to promote a movie too. And so the story behind this is, oh man, I think I've still told this story before. What's it called? What is this one right here? Ready to Rumble. Who the hell is this co-star in this? Ready to Rumble. Came out in 2000. Let me see here. April 7th, 2000. Budget of $24 million. It grossed $12.5 million at the box office. And it stars David Arquette, Oliver Platt, Scott Conn, Bill Goldberg, Rose McGowan, Diamond Dallas Page, Joe Pantoliano, Martin Landau. And it's critically panned. But, he plays, David Arquette and Scott Conn play these like massive wrestling fans who end up like trying to track down their like favorite wrestler or something like that. I don't know. The real story behind this is so that came out spring of my sophomore year in college. My first like night or first week back at school, junior year in college, I was then living in the fraternity house. Yeah, I'm a frat guy, frat bro. What do you want me to do? And I went to a party, and this was when I was like, okay, I'm big time now. Like, single bachelor dude, living in a fraternity house. Like, this is my time to shine. And so I bought 2 hats before I went back to school. One was a Shockers hat, Wichita Shockers hat. And the other one was an Oregon State Beavers hat. Shockers, Beavers, because that's how fucking juvenile and immature I was. And I still find it funny. But so I would wear one of those hats. I just got glasses, I think, for the first time. So I wore glasses with one of either the Shockers or the Beavers hat. And like probably a puka shell necklace. And cargo pants, obviously. And like Adidas sneakers to this like house party that was kind of down the way. Ended up meeting a lady, and we went for like a joyride in her car where she had a stick shift, manual stick shift. And I had never driven manual stick shift. So it was like me basically just breaking her stick shift in her car, just completely fucking up her transmission or gear shift or whatever the hell she's got going on in the car. And then somehow we ended up hooking up. Nothing like X-rated, but I remember I was like, I'd like to like to see you again. I'd like to get together with you again. She's like, yeah, cool. Here's my number, blah, blah. Or maybe here's my email or something like that. I don't know. I might have emailed her. I don't know if I called her. Maybe I did call her. And I was like, yeah, would you want to come? Like, would you want to hang out, come over and like, we could watch a movie and just like order in or something like that? Or we're supposed to have like a, just a nice quiet night or whatever. Meanwhile, like I had a roommate, like it was a big room, but I had a roommate. So I think I asked him like, hey, I know you have a girlfriend and you probably should have like permanent domain over this room. Like I shouldn't even be in this room, but you mind like taking a hike? So he like left and she came over and we watched 2 movies. The first movie, and this was both on VHS. So the first movie was Beavis and Butthead Do America. Are You Kidding, Neal Lynch? No, I'm not. And then the second movie I put on was this gem, Ready to Rumble with David Arquette. Oh my God. And credit to this girl. She must have really liked me because she stuck through both movies. And I mean, we obviously didn't finish Ready to Rumble. I guess you would say we Netflixed and chilled at that point. So she tasted like an ashtray. And I apologize for saying that. I know smokers, it's an affliction. I get it. It's an addiction. It's an affliction. You can't help it. But I mean, I got over it. I didn't mind after a while, but so even after all that, she's like, great, let's hang out again. Okay, cool. It's then that I find out that she goes to school. What is the name of the school? I'm going to butcher it. I think it's the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I mean, it's a school that is like, it is just not near Baltimore. Was it Montgomery? No. I wish there was a map. Holy shit. This school was like, you know how Maryland is, Massachusetts has the arm and Cape Cod's on the arm. This school, like Baltimore, is kind of tucked, I guess, like in the armpit of Maryland. This is like at the fingers of the arm in Maryland. And I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to take public transportation there. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it out there. This woman drove like fucking hours. Oh my God. I feel really bad. Like I just gave up on a potential relationship because I was like, yeah, I don't want to have to borrow a car to see you and drive all that way. Wow. What a dick. Just horrible. It's why I didn't date in college. It's like, because the only other date, I went on maybe 2 more dates lifetime in college. And one of them was probably senior year. And I think that it was another lady who drove in from somewhere very far, not close. And I pre-gamed like I normally do to go to the bars. You don't pre-game for dates, Neil. You don't do that. You don't pre-game for dates. And I did it. And I regret it. Because she showed up and she's like, hey, have you been drinking? Are you drunk? And I was like, I had a couple of brews, you know what I'm saying? So that didn't turn out well. Some college, Eastern Maryland College, I don't know. But it was out there. And I was like, I don't have a car. I don't know how to get there. And it sounds like it will take too long to get there. So I guess this is the end, my friend. Holy shit. Yeah, so this is number 7 top movies I want to see. Number 6 top movies I want to see. Freaky. 17-year-old spends her days trying to survive high school and the cruel actions of a popular crowd. She becomes the latest target of the Butcher, the town's infamous serial killer. Her senior year becomes the least of her worries when the Butcher's mystical dagger causes him and Millie to magically switch bodies. Frightened teen learns she has just 24 hours to get her identity back before she looks like a middle-aged maniac forever. This is with Vince Vaughn and the young lady from 13 Days and Counting. 13 Rules. What the fuck is that stupid show on Netflix? 13 Reasons Why. She was also in Love, Simon, I believe. And was she in the X-Men movie? Possibly. So that looks cool. Kind of like a body swap horror movie. I dig it. Number 5, top movies I want to see from 2020. Color Out of Space. This is with Nicolas Cage. After a meteorite lands in the front yard of the farm, Nathan Gardner and his family find themselves battling a mutant extraterrestrial organism that infects their minds and bodies, transforming their quiet rural life into a technicolor nightmare. Yes, sign me up. Number 4, I have Sputnik. This is actually a Russian language movie. Russian. Summoned to a secluded research facility, a controversial young doctor examines a cosmonaut who returned to Earth with an alien parasite inside of him. Yeah. I'm all about that. Number 3 is Palm Springs. I know people were talking about this crazy, but it's on Hulu and we don't have Hulu. So stuck in a time loop, 2 wedding guests develop a budding romance while living the same day over and over again. A little Groundhog Day action. I got you. I'm always a fan of that. Number 2 is Shithouse. A lonely college freshman forgets a strong connection with his resident assistant during a fraternity party. Okay. And then number 1, which is a movie that feels like it's been out forever and is just now available to rent at a reasonable price. Tenet with Denzel Washington's boy. Is it John Washington? He was in Black Klansman and Ballers. So it's from Christopher Nolan. And I think Robert Pattinson is in it as well. So I'm almost I hate to say this, but I was almost like no longer psyched to see it. I just like completely forgot about it until I put together this list and I was like, holy shit, this is like, I can rent this now. Cause it was like forever that it was like months and months on end. You get to pay 20 bones. How about the most anticipated movies coming in 2021? This is from Variety. And I just kind of cherry picked the ones that stood out the most to me that I want to see. I don't even know how many are on this goddamn list, but I'll go through it quickly. First movies coming out. So Variety seems to think that theaters are going to come open and box office is going to be booming and crowds are going to like flock back. I don't know about all that, but the first most anticipated movie coming in 2021, Coming to America, March 5th. Eddie Murphy's back. It's Prince Akeem. Screenplay written by Kenya Barris. Prince Akeem is set to become king of Zamunda when he discovers he has a son in America, played by Jermaine Fowler. Yes, dude. Such a perfect casting choice. March 12th, The Many Saints of Newark. It's the prequel to The Sopranos. The 67 riots in Newark. Tension between the town's Italian and Black communities. Stars Leslie Odom Jr., Michael Gandolfini, who's James Gandolfini's son, and Ray Liotta, Vera Farmiga, and Sopranos creator David Chase is also on board as a producer and writer. Sweet. March 19th, we have Morbius, upcoming supervillain film. Introduces fans to Dr. Michael Morbius, a classic Spider-Man anti-hero who becomes a vampire while attempting to cure himself of a rare blood disease. Jared Leto is plays Dr. Morbius. And, oh yeah. So there are hints of a few connections to other Spider-Man villains, perhaps hinting at a major crossover and an introduction to the Sinister Six, which there was news Recently that what's his face? Alfred Molina was going to return as Dr. Octopus. So you got Michael Keaton returning as Batman. You got Doc Ock returning as Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock. And I think there were a couple other major stars that are returning. April 2nd's No Time to Die. 25th movie in the James Bond franchise. I think it's Daniel Craig's last tour as Bond. This time he needs to rescue a kidnapped scientist, puts him on a collision course with Rami Malek, mysterious masked villain armed with dangerous technology. Fuck y'all. Love Rami Malek. Although I kind of fell off the James Bond train, if I'm being real with you. I haven't seen one since, I think the last one I saw was 2012. I don't think I saw Skyfall. I think Quantum of Solace, whatever the one was with Javier Bardem, is the one that I saw. That was the last one. A Quiet Place Part 2. Emily Blunt and the kids have to stay silent and evade deadly monsters in a dystopian world. Despite his character's demise in the first movie, John Krasinski returns to direct the sequel. And I'm sure there will be flashbacks to his time when he was still breathing. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen fucking A Quiet Place 1, get your ass in gear. May 7th is Black Widow. Scarlett ScarJo gets her standalone film. Also stars David Harbour, Florence Pugh, who from Midsommar, and what other movie was she in that I liked a lot? I don't know, but she should blow up. She's another one that's about to blow up. And something called OT Fag Banal. I don't even know what that is. It comes after 2016's Captain America. It's set after Captain America Civil War. May 21st is Godzilla vs. Kong. It's set to debut on both HBO Max and in theaters. It's the crossover sequel to Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. And the iconic monsters square off in an epic battle for the ages while humanity hopes to wipe out both of them in order to take back the planet. What are you talking about? They're both friendly. They both want to be your friend. At least Godzilla, dude. I don't know about Kong. Kong just wants to be left alone, I think. He's like, get the fuck off my island, dude. It's my island. June 11th is Ghostbusters Afterlife. You know what? I don't know. I wasn't crazy about when I saw this trailer. I don't think it's been getting, it was not getting a lot of great early reviews. Bill Murray, Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and Annie Potts reprised their roles from the original movie. They're joined by Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, McKenna Grace, Paul Rudd, hell yeah, and Carrie Coon, hell yeah. So that's why I kind of put it on my list, is like, follows a family that moves to a small town to discover their connection to the ghost catching business. It's a follow up to Ghostbusters 2 from 1989. Oh. So yeah, I mean, Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon is what kind of drew me in. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have the original cast back. I doubt that they're gonna have like that major a role in this movie, but I feel like Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, it's hard to go wrong with them. June 25th is Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Tom Hardy is back. It's the classic Spider-Man villain. This time ready to take on a superpowered serial killer Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson. Hell yeah. Andy Serkis directs the sequel, which fans speculate could be building up to more Marvel crossovers down the road. Sinister Six, bitch. July 2nd's Top Gun Maverick. After completing years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Mitchell, Tom Cruise, returns 35 years after the original blockbuster to confront his past while training a new squad of graduates for a life-threatening mission. Jennifer Connelly, Val Kilmer, Miles Teller. God damn you, Miles Teller. I don't know why he's like an arch enemy. July 9th is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Cool. Another installment in the MCU. Just Mercy's director, which I like Just Mercy, introduces a master martial artist, co-stars Aquafina. Hell yeah. This will be the first MCU film with a mostly Asian and Asian American cast. I'm down with that. July 30th is Jungle Cruise. Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson. I don't even know if I need to read the rest of the fucking synopsis. Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, based on the ride. August 6th, The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. Follows the comic book roots of Harley Quinn and her gang of supervillains rather than continuing the narrative of the 2016 film. Interesting. Star-studded cast features Viola Davis, Margot Robbie, Taika Waititi, Sylvester Stallone, Idris Elba, Jai Courtney, and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson, I have like a little love-hate, bittersweet thing going for him, but that should be interesting. I'm interested in that. Also, Sly Stallone, that's funny. I think John Cena's in this too. Yeah. October 1st is Dune. The long-awaited Denis Villeneuve remake of the sci-fi epic stars Timothée Chalamet as a young duke named Paul Atreides leading a battle to control the desert planet Arrakis. Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa, and Javier Bardem. Holy fuck, that's going to be a good movie. It should be. In December, you got Nightmare Alley, based off the novel of the same name, psychological thriller directed by Guillermo del Toro. Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett co-star. They play a manipulative carny and a psychiatrist with dangerous tendencies. Oh yeah, that sounds cool. Willem Dafoe, Toni Collette, and Rooney Mara round out the cast. Fuck yeah. December 17th, Spider-Man 3. Led by Tom Holland. Alfred Molina, Doc Ock. Whoa, what? Oh. So Alfred Molina's Doc Ock and Jamie Foxx's Electro are both reprising their roles. Ooh, universe-crossing superhero film. Hachi Mama. I like that. I think you're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. Like I mentioned with Michael Keaton returning as Batman, having like the universes cross like that. I think that's a good idea. I love it. And I'm glad to see it's coming to fruition. And then December 22nd is The Matrix 4. Get ready to re-enter The Matrix. Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, Lambert Wilson, and Daniel Bernhard. Directed by Lana Wachowski. So that should be fun, hopefully. So that's it. That's the best TV shows and movies of 2020. Along with the most anticipated movies of 2021. Thanks for gutting that out. All right, we'll talk about the Giants really quickly. Recap the Giants' win over the Cowboys, the Eagles tanking, look back at the 2020 season, look at the 2021 opponents, and so forth. Let me scroll down. Let me get to the Cowboys recap real quick. This was a huge win. First and foremost, I want to put that out there because this was much like we couldn't get over the hurdle with the Eagles for the past 4 or 5 years. We really seemed to be cursed by the Cowboys as well. There were like 2 or 3 games where we had it in the bank and should have won and we didn't, and ended up getting gutted towards the end. So this was another huge win because it meant that we're like, say what you will about curses and whatnot, but we broke the curse. We broke the curse against the Eagles with our home win, and the second go round this season, and we broke the curse against the Cowboys. We're 6-10. Doesn't feel like a huge improvement over 5-11 or 4-12 or what have you, but when you look at what we'll get to it, but this is a different 6-10 team. Okay. And I think anyone who watched every game, every play, watched Joe Judge speak, watched the players speak, it knows that. So I'll just put that out there. Cowboys have allowed 20-plus points in 14 games this season, the most such games in a single season of franchise history. So we knew coming in that they stink against the run. They were last in the league in defensive rushing yards allowed per game, 161 per game. They were 30th in points allowed per game. So if there was ever a time for the offense to break out and feel itself and shake loose of the red zone blues, this was it. The Giants scored 20-plus points for the first time in their last 6 games. It's a 5-game drought. That was the longest single-season drought streak, ironically, since 2016, the last time that we went to the playoffs with an 11-5 record and Ben McAdoo at the helm. And that was on the wings of our defense. So it feels like we had a similar season to 2016. It's just the ball didn't go our way in 5 games that they did go our way in 2016. We gained almost more than 6 yards. We averaged more than 6 yards per play, while Dallas averaged less than 4 yards per play. We got 6 sacks, so the pass rush stepped up. And yeah, the haters will say it was a banged-up offensive line. They're missing Lyle Collins and Tyrone Smith and Zach Martin and blah, 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 blah. Still, I mean, they were missing the same players in the first go-around, and we didn't get it. We didn't get even close to the amount of sacks that we had this time. And this might be the only game that we won with 23 points and a 0% third down efficiency. Well, that's just bizarre. And that indicates to me that we either just didn't get the third down. And when we did, I don't know. It's kind of crazy looking at that stat and knowing that Dallas converted 35% of the time, we converted 0. Whoa. Dallas owned the time of possession with 32 minutes to our 27, and we were penalized the same amount. It felt like we had this game under control for the majority of the first half, and we did. And it was us beating ourselves. It was our mistakes that were letting them back in the game. I mean, the first drive that resulted in points for them, 6 plays, 7 net yards, and it was because Daniel Jones didn't know how to hand off to Wayne Gallman. You know, I know in the broadcast, Aikman wanted to pin that on Gallman, but you look at it and it's like, dude, just put it in his breadbasket. Why are you sticking it in up by his throat? Their defense forced three and outs in a row after that. And then, of course, towards the end of the half is where our defense tends to fall apart and break down. We allowed 2 field goals towards the end there to get the score to 20-9. But our opening drive, I mean, I tweeted this out, was pure perfection. Almost every play call was on point. I mean, the end around to Sterling Shepard for the touchdown. The pass patterns, the pass routes that Garrett dialed up were great. The scripted drive was about as good as it can go. And then, the fumble really set us back. That really crushed our momentum on the second drive. That really, it just gave Dallas life. And, it didn't help. I mean, this game should not have been 23-19. I mean, and I know there are a lot of people saying that Dallas probably should have won the game because, if they had a capable coach instead of Mike McCarthy, they would have known to go for 2 instead of 1. And if they get that, then they would have been tied towards the end of the game. And then if they challenged the Dante Pettis catch on that last drive where Gano hits the long field goal, they probably would have been, the catch would have been overturned, and then the Giants the punt, and they don't score. And so then the Cowboys have the opportunity to score, kick the game-winning field goal 23-20. Very easily could have seen that happen. But there's no reason that the Cowboys should have been in the game in the first place. But it's because of stupid mistakes like the handoff, mess up, and then Evan Engram, dude. I mean, just Evan Engram. Evan fucking Engram. Open, Jones puts it right where you need to put it, right in the midst, and it somehow goes through his hands and bounces up and gets intercepted. And that leads to points. I mean, it's like breathed life, because coming out in the second half, the Cowboys go 3 and out. Didn't even Didn't even spend a minute off the clock. And then we gave the ball right back with that interception in our territory. And they go down and they score a touchdown. And so now it's 2016. It's just like, ugh. And then there was another drop that he had that would have been a first down that would have extended a drive that killed the opportunity for points. So I don't know. Fucking Evan Engram, dude. He's just so insanely maddening. Jones played another great game, 17 of 25, 229, 2 touches and an interception that, you shouldn't put on him. That goes in the Evan Engram column. Wayne Gallman, 11 carries, 65 yards for almost average 6 yards a carry, which is great to see. And despite Daniel Jones trying to throw up a smokescreen and saying that he won't be as mobile as he usually is, he did run the ball 9 times for 17 yards. So it's like probably still a little rusty there in terms of trying to like run the ball. Sterling Shepard, what a goddamn game. 10 targets, 8 catches, 112 for a touch. I love the guy. And I never want to speak ill of him because he catches everything. And he's just a great player to have on the field. He's just not a number one. But if we can get him in the appropriate system with some complementary receivers, because right now, Slayton's kind of like your deep threat, right? Your speed, he's your speed demon. He's going to get vertical, attack downfield, right? And they have Shep kind of in the middle range, underneath type stuff. And then I don't know, Engram. I don't know what you do with Engram. Dante Pettis, though, he stepped up, 2 targets, 2 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown, he got, Danny hit him right in the fucking grill. So it's a good thing he held on to it, even though it's like he kind of lost the ball there towards the end. It looks like he might be a dependable 3 or 4. Feels like Golden Tate's not part of the team anymore. He missed the final, I don't even know how many games. Was not putting up great numbers when he was in the lineup, was not getting a lot of snaps, like less than 50% of snaps. So it's hard to justify unless he decides to take a pay cut and he's like, you know what? I feel good about this team. I want to be part of a winner. I feel like we will be a winner and I'm willing to take a pay cut. It's hard to justify paying him that much money when he's like the number 3 and could be the number 4 receiver. Yikes. So Slayton, 4 targets, 2 catches, 22 yards. Engram, 4 targets, 2 catches, 17 yards. And those 2 big drops that one killed a drive, or both killed drives, but one led to a turnover that led to points for the other team. Why don't we throw to Caden Smith more? I saw that being thrown around. Why don't we throw to Levine Talolo more? We've had such red zone troubles. Why are we not utilizing some of the guys that are not kind of your top of mind targets? Like Caden Smith, like Levine Talolo. Where are they down near the goal line in the red zone? Why are we not utilizing them? Because, in this, and what reminded me of this was, I think it was the Packers-Bears game that I watched where it's like they went 5 wide, no backs, shotgun, Rodgers. It looks like Chicago's playing some kind of like Tampa 2 where they're pressing. They don't have anyone really deep. And they had like a linebacker and a tight end or something like that. And the tight end just attacks right down the middle of the field. Rodgers hits him in stride, touchdown. And it was not Tanyan who probably should have been in the Pro Bowl over Engram, but it was like their other tight end. It's like, you just got to utilize, I think outside the bun, dude. The Wayne Gallman fumble at the end, almost, I can't imagine what the neighbors thought because I just lost my gourd. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I couldn't believe it, that it looked like it was going to come down to that. And so happy that there was some definitive proof on the replay that you could see him at the bottom of the ball. But good God, dude. And he just stripped himself. It's like, no one hit you, non-contact. Like you literally were running and somehow like literally stripped yourself. So boy, oh boy. Xavier McKinney with the game winning, game clinching interception in the end zone. It's good to see him to get a pick. He was like the highest graded defensive player for the Giants against the Browns, which I thought he played well. I think he played okay against Baltimore. And then, he had another great game here. So and with Logan Ryan signing the 3-year extension on Christmas Day, it's a Christmas miracle. Oh my God. It'll be interesting to see how things will play out, but it's like, you got to feel good about our secondary right now. McKinney, Ryan, Peppers, Julian Love now filling in on the CB2 for Isaac Yiadom, who I think he saw a snap on Sunday. And Julian Love played fairly well. I mean, this is not, I know Dalton's not like, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes type level, but he's still the best backup quarterback out there because he's probably not a backup quarterback. He was a starter for so many years. It's not like this is his first game off the bench. He's been playing like pretty much the entire season almost. So, but still you're facing Michael Gallup. I mean, they tore up the Eagles. Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. That's a hard trio of receivers to beat. Probably the best trio of receivers in the league, I would think. I would put them up against just about anyone. So, and we didn't let them burn us. I mean, they had a handful of, they each had a handful of catches, but none of them surpassed 100 yards. I don't think any of them got into the end zone that I remember. But, if you can contain them, keep the catches in front of you. I'm still not a fan of this, like the bend, but do not break on every single drive kind of kills me. And, I think that's what you saw maybe against the Browns. And the Ravens just broke us. They were like, oh, this is how far you bend? Check this out. And just snapped us in two. And the Ravens didn't even beat us with throwing. They just ran all over us, which is supposed to be our strength. We're our run defense, but not against Baltimore. Baltimore is going to be a problem in the postseason. But our defense stepped up big time. Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant with 11 tackles, a tackle for loss. Blake Martinez was saying that he has been an amazing guy to have next to him in the defensive backfield. Says that he's for a rookie, he has his head on straight and he's got a level head and he's actually able to teach Blake Martinez some things. I mean, that is high praise coming from Blake Martinez, a guy that arguably should be in the Pro Bowl, maybe even be in the conversation for All Pro. Although the more I think about it, the more it's like, well, they say he's a tackling machine. It's like, yeah, but the reason why he has so many tackles is because maybe he's not good in coverage. He lets his guy get open. He lets his guy catch the ball, and then he immediately tackles the guy. And it's like, so if he's targeted 5 times and you see what I'm saying? So I can see that argument, but at the same time, I'm still glad to have him. And he deserves to be a captain. He got a sack and a tackle for loss. Leonard Williams, dude, earn your paycheck. Holy fuck. 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Ooh, baby. He's the first Giants defensive tackle with 10 plus sacks in a single season since Keith Hamilton in 2000. That's some great company right there. So I say, let's give it our best shot. Let's try and re-sign him. I think he showed enough this season, with a full season under his belt in Patrick Graham's defense, that he's worth the money. The issue is that you still need a pass rusher. So even though he did have, 11.5 sacks, it still felt like if you can just get one more pass rusher on the edge, we'll go from, we're like the 12th scoring defense. We're kind of just outside the playoff range, but we're a little above average. We'll go to a top 5, top 10 defense for sure across the board. we can get that in place. Julian Love had a great game. James Bradbury, another great game. Although we had, 2-3 dropped interceptions. Cannot have that happen. I saw Julian Love tweeted that he needs to get on the jugs machine. I was like, that's pretty funny, dude. Appreciate that. So I think we're set in the secondary. Graham Gano with a missed extra point almost came back to bite us in the ace. Riley Dixon has kind of fallen off. 2 punts out of 5 inside the 20, although he had I think he had 2 more opportunities and didn't get it done. So it's not how I wanted him to end up, but he's still better than what we've had in the past. So yeah, great effort by the defense. Offense played somewhat better. I think Jones, did all he could. It's just Evan Engram is just figure it out, man. Figure it out. So recapping the 2020 season, 10 games decided by a score, 5 losses by 8 or less points. And if you convert those 5 losses to wins, we're 11-5. The same record that Ben McAdoo had in his first year in 2016. And then he lost the clubhouse in 17. Dan Reeves went 11-5 his first year with the Giants in 93. And then it got worse every year after that. On the flip side of things, you had 5 wins by 5 or fewer points. So we very easily could have done what the Vegas oddmakers said we would do and go 1-15. Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys went 1-15 in 1989. Not sure if you've heard. They had Aikman and Irvin that year, no Emmitt Smith. But in 90, Emmitt Smith joined the team and he went to the Pro Bowl. They still went 7-9. And then 92, the following year, they went 11-5, second in place with a wild card berth. They were top 10 in offense with Aikman, Emmett, and Irvin, all Pro Bowlers, along with Jay Novacek. So why do I bring that up? I think I've mentioned this before, but it starts to feel like we're going to be in that range next year. It feels like we're going to threaten that and become that kind of team in 2021. As I mentioned, Evan Engram getting named to the 2021 Pro Bowl team. I don't know why. James Bradbury got selected to the Pro Bowl team. I think Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, Leonard Williams, and Blake Martinez all should probably get the nod, but they won't. So what the fuck? But still, Evan Engram doesn't deserve that. He just doesn't. And I guess there was a vote by his peers, by coaches and players, but I don't know, maybe to make him feel better, because it's just like, you're killing us, dude. You're killing us. Clem from Barstool posted a video of, all the lowlights from this season for Evan Engram, which is like the drops and the plays that led to interceptions and turnovers. And it's just like, oof. I mean, Jones had 9 interceptions, 10 interceptions this year. I think half of those were from throwing to Evan Engram. This was the first time since 2004 when Eli Manning was a rookie that the Giants didn't have a single 300-yard passing game in the regular season. And that's, when we talk about the regression of Daniel Jones and how Jason Garrett might be the cause of that, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at there. He had multiple 300-yard passing games as a rookie in 2019 with Shermer. So why not in 2020? What are we not seeing with what should be a better offensive line? And, understandably, he didn't have Saquon, but it's like, I don't know. PFF tweeted this out. Daniel Jones is one of the only 2 quarterbacks this season to be sacked more than 10 times within 2.5 seconds. And so we get on Jason Garrett's case and we say, why don't you throw the ball deeper? Daniel Jones is successful when he throws the ball deep. That's partially why. It's because you need more than 2.5 seconds to throw the ball deep most times. And when he has that amount of time, he doesn't have that amount of time, because he's getting sacked. So that's probably why he's not calling those deep passes, because he actually, high risk, high reward. But more times than not, you're not even getting the chance to get the ball out there. Justin Pennick tweeted that Colt McCoy averaged 10 air yards per attempt against the Browns. Daniel Jones has only 2 games above 9 air yards attempts this year, Cincinnati and Arizona. We question who is the one heading the conservative play calling, Jason Garrett or Joe Judge. It looks like it's been Garrett. And Garrett opened it up a little bit more against the Cowboys, which was good to see. But I still think, I don't know, I cannot see him coming back in 2021. They have to have a serious sit-down talk. And the Eagles tanking, I mean, fucking A, dude. We had the opportunity to become the best 6-10 division winner in NFL history. And it didn't happen. And I'm not saying that Washington doesn't deserve it. It's a great story. Alex Smith has come back player of the year. Ron Rivera beating cancer. It's the storylines are there for the Washington football team. They're going to get their fucking dicks kicked in against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think, and Rodney Harrison was talking on Sunday Night Football about how which of the two teams has a better shot with the Tampa. And he said Washington. And I was like, are you kidding me? Did you watch Alex Smith in this game against the Eagles? He could not move, and he is captain. He's Chucky checkdowns. I don't remember seeing he threw maybe one ball longer than 5 yards that entire game, it felt like. So I think Tampa's going to just demolish them. And I just think the Giants would have given Tampa a much better effort, much better, fight. Because the teams that the Giants have had trouble against, you look at them, they all had very mobile quarterbacks. Arizona, Baltimore, Cleveland. We just weren't able to capture lightning in a bottle more than once. We were able to contain Russell Wilson very well. We just couldn't do it with the other mobile quarterbacks. So I really thought we had a very good shot of taking it to Tom Brady and seeing how our defense has evolved and progressed throughout the year, how we have Xavier McKinney back, how Julian Love looks like he's, fitting in the outside, and everyone was healthy and energized. Kyler Fackrell was back, and, it just felt like we had momentum. And unfortunately, we didn't get that chance because Doug Pederson's a dickhead, basically. I mean, you can't put it any other way. You're gonna if you're not like what you're trying to win the game, but Nate Sudfeld is not your best chance to win the game. Like Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts is the dude who's put the points on the fucking scoreboard, dude. He's the one with the 2 touchdowns. So it's bullshit. And, I have a lot of Eagles fan friends who are like, well, don't, win more than 6 games. And it's like, yeah, no, you're completely right. I'm not arguing that, but you tanked, you tossed in the game, you threw in the game, because there's no doubt in my mind, if Jalen Hurts continues to play that game, that they pull that out. They win that game. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't throw an interception. He doesn't Sudfeld didn't do shit the rest of the game. So I don't know, the Eagles, man. And there's all these storylines now coming out saying that, the players had to be held back from Pederson. They were so pissed. And Miles Sanders saying it's like he couldn't understand it. And you see, Jalen Hurts on the sideline saying it's not right. And then there's this clip of Jason Kelsey saying, like, you have to win at all costs. Like, we're on the field to win. And it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, they sat like all their key important players. They just kept them out. So it's not. But at the same time, the guys you were playing were trying to play 100%. And we're trying to win the game. And then you throw in Sudfeld. Also, you can get like the 6th pick instead of the 9th. I hope that 6th pick stinks. And he probably will. So have fun with that. The next Giants-Eagles game is going to be electric. And we run up the score. I mean, I'm talking Bounty Bowl 3. Let's just fucking... No, all gas, no brakes. Okay. That's all I have to do. But, yeah, I mean, Giants could have been 9-7. Realistically, they could have been 9-7. The Dallas game slipped away from us. We had that. We were up big early, and then we came back, and it was like our defense just could not get it together. And we had 2 touchdowns called back by penalties. The Philly game, I mean, that Van Ingram drop, if he catches that, the game's over. And then the Tampa game, I mean, the 2-point conversion, it was obvious pass interference. We would have got the ball on like the 1 and probably would have converted, going overtime. Then we have a chance to win there. So realistically, you could have been 8-8, 9-7. That gets us in the playoffs. Had the final series gone different in the Bears and Rams games, we're looking at 11-5. What if we had a fully healthy Daniel Jones for Arizona and Cleveland, dude? Those games probably turn out differently. And even though the final score against Cleveland was 20-6, we were in the red zone. I mean, we had two. If Judge, I completely disagreed with Judge on, but I really respect the fuck out of him saying that he's going to play aggressively. I like that, but at the same time, it's like put points on the board. Field goals are not going to win it. Against a Cleveland team where they run the ball, we run the ball. It's two hard-nosed defenses. It's not going to be a shootout like it was the previous week against Baltimore. That was kind of just an anomaly. I think you just kick the field goals, because then you look, we would have been down 20-12. And I don't think that you should kick the onside. You shouldn't do an onside kick with like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. So you kick it deep. You have your defense stand tall. Obviously we were missing James Bradbury, and that killed us. But I don't know, 2012. And if McCoy was a little more accurate on his throw to Ingram and maybe Tate, I think it was, he missed 2 surefire touchdowns. So it looks like we got blown out and we got steamrolled, but at the same time, that's a winnable game. And then Arizona, I mean, that was just like Daniel Jones should not have been playing, and we just had a horrible game plan. So it's different. It's a different 6-10. But goddamn, it's like one game. If we just won, it would have been different. I truly believe we would have beat Tampa. All indications are that Gettleman will be back in the Giants GM. Will be back as Giants GM, which I don't hate. I think you give him one more draft, you give him one more free agency period, and given that most of your core that you care about should be back if you do the right thing with Leonard Williams, and then are able to keep guys like Tomlinson and Gallman. You're going to get Saquon back. Hopefully you draft a top receiver, stud pass rusher, maybe get a new offensive coordinator. And then if you miss the playoffs in 21, I mean, he's obviously gone. I mean, for sure. But I think 2021 is the year. And then if you need any reminder that Joe Judge is the guy, I mean, his like speech or his reaction to the Eagles tanking was like, I mean, can we not just play one more week? Can we not just say, like, I don't know, because it was just like, I don't know if he wrote this down and prepared this and rehearsed this, but it was just like, there was some epic shit. But basically saying we will never disrespect the game. And just like, it was impassioned without being like a rant or crazy. It was just measured and strong-willed. And it was just like, this guy is going to be our coach forever. I cannot see him not being our coach. He's going to coach our team for the next 20 goddamn years. And the Eagles, I mean, like, go fuck yourselves. I hope that this really is the straw that breaks the camel's back and like it tears the Eagles apart. I really do. Cause like, it's just garbage what they did. I'm completely fine with you, like not starting Jalen Hurts and starting Sudfeld from the start and being like, I don't want Hurts to get hurt. But like, why are you playing Hurts? You start him and then you pull him when you're down by 3. What? You weren't getting blown out. And then to give like a bullshit excuse, just like, so Doug Pederson, that guy sucks. I'm pissed off, Angelo. Patrick Graham signed an extension, which is phenomenal. So happy. I don't know the exact details of the extension, but that's huge because I know that we were very concerned that he was going to leave us hanging in the wind to be a head coach somewhere. And then he was going to interview with the Jets, or he did interview with the Jets, and he was like, you know what? I think I like the Giants. So that was good to hear. Because, the team loves him. His players love him. Blake Martinez, stage 5 clinger. Logan Ryan. as nothing but high praise, and it's just they got a good core. It's good. Like you hear Logan Ryan talk, you see what he brings to the table, you hear what everyone says about him, you see what they say about James Bradbury, you see what they say about Tate Crowder, Blake Martinez. I mean, just the defense feels like it's right there. It's on the edge. It just needs one or two guys, maybe just one guy. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, you got to figure some stuff out. Our 2021 opponents. At home, we have the Falcons, Panthers, Raiders, Broncos, Rams, and then NFC East, Washington, Dallas, Philly. I honestly think that we can do. I know we are not normally good at home, but I could see us going undefeated at home next year. I mean, the Falcons are in a state of disarray. Like, is Matt Ryan going to be on a different team? What's their deal? I mean, the Panthers might give us some trouble. Matt Rule's a pretty decent coach. I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is the guy. Christian McCaffrey was hurt this year. But Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel are pretty good receivers. So, maybe they, I know they've had a few heartbreakers here and there. So they'll probably give us a run for money. I'm not saying we're going to blow out the Falcons. I mean, it's going to be another year of close calls. But I think the Falcons will fall apart. I think the Panthers we can edge out. The Raiders and Gruden, I don't know what to think about them. They're so like you go and you beat the Chiefs, but then you almost lose to the Jets, and you probably should have lost to the Jets. So that's just like, I don't know what their deal is. And then the Broncos, I think they're another team that they can give you fits here and there and play like some crazy good games here and there, but I don't know if they're consistently good. And I feel good that could be the Pat Shurmur revenge game. Holy shit. And then the Rams. The Rams are really the only team that I could see us. I'm like 90%, 80% probability we lose. But then again, the Rams might be in a tough spot with their salary cap. Away, we have Chiefs, Chargers, Bucks, Saints, Bears. And then, of course, the NFC East. I've got a loss to the Chiefs. I don't know what to think about the Chargers. That could be a loss. We're never really good against the Chargers. I actually have a loss against Tampa in Tampa, even though we might be seeing the beginning of the end with Tom Brady next year. And then the Saints is up in the air because I think Drew Brees, there are reports that he's going to retire. So it's like, how are we going to fare against Taysom Hill? Is he going to be the guy that we just can't prepare for and he's just going to run wild on us? Or what? I don't know. And then the Bears, I think that's a W. The Bears backed into the playoffs. I know they got all high and mighty with Trubisky, like putting up a lot of points, but you look at some dude put out some kind of stat on Twitter that was like strength of pass defense, easiest versus most difficult. And Trubisky had the easiest schedule of pass defenses. And guess who had the most difficult? Daniel Jones. So it's no longer an argument with these idiots who think that Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. I mean, the guy, he's so good. I love him. He's our franchise quarterback. That's literally my last 8,000 tweets is going to be Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. So I think our floor is 9-7, and I think 9-7, 10-6 is our floor, and I think 11-5, 12-4 is our ceiling. I really do. We're going to be in that 9-12 range, and I guarantee a playoff spot. Boom. I said it. Bradbury also made the second PFF second team all-pro team, which is great. PFF's all-rookie team. No Giants made it. What are you going to do? And then the PFF mock draft. We'll finish out with that. And we'll get to the Mets probably another time. Sorry, guys. Sorry. PFF mock draft. They have the Eagles taking... and this is, I don't know if this is a troll job or what, but this is pure insanity that I'm reading this right now. PFF has the Eagles at number 6, taking North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance. Quote, you don't have to look much further than Jalen Hurts benching in week 17 to see the Eagles still need a quarterback, end quote. What? And it's also ironic that Wentz went to North Dakota State. So it's like, I don't know what the hell's going on here with the Eagles. Sure, draft another quarterback. Who gives a shit? I thought Nate Sudfeld was your guy. He does give you the best chance to win. At number 10, the Cowboys. They have the Cowboys picking cornerback Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. Farley's another opt-out who will have a chance to make himself a good deal of money with his performance at the Combine. 6'2", 207. He allows a passer rating of 26.8 in his coverage in 2019, but again, he didn't play in 2020. So, I mean, Cowboys definitely need help in the secondary. So, kudos to them if they go for it. But I think they have, I don't know, they could get back on track next year. I think the Cowboys and Washington, if they make some moves, will be our main competition. The Eagles are going to. Giants are at 11. PFF has us selecting, I believe, Heisman Trophy winner, wide receiver from Alabama, Devontae Smith. Carried the Alabama offense despite being without his three fellow first-round receivers, racked up over 1,200 receiving yards, including the third most yards after the catch in the country. And that's what I like to hear because I don't feel like we do a lot of yak. And that's what Golden Tate was supposed to do, come in here and yak it up. And he flat out did. So, all right. That's the show. I'm sorry we didn't get to the Mets. Maybe I'll do a little special Mets. Section next episode. Apologies on that. But yeah, I mean, Giants season ends on a sour note. It feels like I would have loved a legitimate shot. I really did think the Eagles with Hurts. I mean, you just watch the game, and Washington is just not a good team offensively, even with Alex Smith in the lineup. I mean, defensively, they're amazing. You know, I mean, great secondary, awesome front four, and the linebackers are, coming around. But I think, a lot of that's because of the front four. Their offense smells, man. And Alex Smith is a great story. He cannot move worth a shit in the pocket. And he just checks down. That's all he does. He just throws it to whoever's like within 5 yards of the ball, mostly running backs, maybe a tight end here and there. I mean, Logan Thomas has been surprising for them and might offer up some matchup problems for Tampa. I know that Mike Evans got hurt, so Tampa might be without their number one receiver, but they do still have Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. Devin White might not be able to play. They're a star linebacker. So, maybe they don't get blown out, but shit, man, that defense is going to have to step up big time because that offense stinks so bad. And I know that we were, with that win over the Cowboys, I think that was a momentum shift for us. And that we would have given Tampa a good run for their money. And we're not going to get that chance. Fucking A, man. All because of literally one or two plays. 2 or 3 plays throughout the season, and that's the difference. So, fuck. All right, so that's the show. Thanks for listening. And hopefully we'll see you next week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Adios, muchachos.